scoring 2 runs in the 10th inning for Nashville to claim a 10-8 win. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3, The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Bobby and Rex Road. Chase and Michelle.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase.
Stone Company.
Nashville's best sports talk.
Crank it up.
1025 and 1063.
Crank City scores. On both sides of the ball. One big possession. Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
It was pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willy Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personality of all time.
On 1025 and 1063, The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 1025, 1063, The Game, and the Game Nashville app. We're live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studio, streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. Our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook Sports. Happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody. Happy Taylor Swift weekend. And a very happy birthday to my mama today.
Hey, happy birthday.
we got a lot going on, don't we?
To Mama Fitton. Happy birthday to Mama Fitton.
Thank you.
She's
awesome.
what, about 40, 45?
She's 35,
Yeah, there we
Don't
go.
age her.
Yeah.
How we
And
doing?
Doing good. I mean, here we are celebrating another holiday. Is it? I mean, it's not. I don't know. It's just an excuse to party. Yeah, that's how I look at it. It's just an excuse to drink and party along with the Swifties downtown. So it's going to be a madhouse. I am staying away from that place.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I wish I could, but we live on the east side. So
Oh,
we're like,
yeah,
how do
you're
we get
right
out
there.
of our neighborhood? Like, if we want to get somewhere, like, how do we get out? Like,
I don't
it's
know.
not going
Go
to be easy.
to Knoxville
Like,
or go to Mount
yeah,
Juliet.
we're going to have to go out and around.
Go the
for
other
sure.
way. It is going to be an absolute madhouse this
Hey,
weekend.
don't y'all know that, just think about this, that there's more planes in the sea than submarines in the sky. Think about that.
What?
That's plain to see, right?
Say that one more
Philosophy.
time.
Hold on.
It's
I
plain
didn't
to
take any
see.
philosophy classes before. Can we get that again? There's more planes in the sea.
There's more planes in the sea than submarines in the sky.
According to who?
There is. It's plain to see. Doo-doo. You can catch me at Zany's.
That was not what I was expecting come out of your mouth. How long have you been cooking that one up?
That's a dad joke. Come on now. A friend of mine sent it to me, so I had to say it.
D-Mase has been a little jokester today. I'm walking
Oh,
in.
this is so funny.
I'm walking into the building, and every morning I love to do a crossword. So I'm finishing up my crossword. I'm in the zone. I'm on my phone, and D-Mase lands on his horn in his car, and I like
Caroline was like, "Ah!"
dropped my phone out of my hand. I
Oh,
almost
my
peed
goodness.
in my pants. My heart was beating so fast.
I
was
couldn't
like,
let that
D-Mase.
opportunity pass me because
Sneaky.
she's gotten like startled several times in the studio by things that Nick is doing behind the glass. So I'm like, oh, I can take a chance. This is a good opportunity to scare her. And I got her.
Gotta keep your head on a swivel
Hey,
around
man.
this place. Between you and Nick, you're just scheming up against me. Well, let's get into it. Packed show today. We have Ask D-Mase at 12:30, so get those calls and texts in for D-Mase. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. A recent breakdown in The Athletic. This is by Dan Pompey of The Athletic, who does great work, covers college football, covers the NFL. Had a breakdown of Peter Skronsky and his entire draft process, his entire, draft night, his path from, where he started to where he is now, how the Titans and his relationship kind of came to be. And I want to get into the article because Rand Carthon has some quotes in there, some good tidbits. Mike Vrabel was also interviewed for this article as well. So good insight from Dan Pompey on Peter Skronsky and his path. But before we get into all of that, we've done a lot of talk on the quarterbacks, obviously. That's the sexy thing to talk about right now. But Peter Skronsky was the 11th overall pick in this year's draft. Peter Skronsky was the Tennessee Titans' first-round pick. in theory, the Titans see Peter Skoronski being part of the future of this football team. Ideally, even though that's not what you've really gotten out of your first-round picks recently, but that's what the idea is with Peter Skoronski, with any first-round pick. So being a first-round pick, what, in your opinion, do you think Peter Skoronski needs to be for this football team, both this season and for the entirety of his career?
Well, the position, it's not just a first-round pick because we've seen, first-round picks vary, whether you're at the bottom of the first round or you're top of the first round. At the top of the first round, the expectations is a little bit different than it is at the bottom of the first round, albeit they predict you as potentially being a starter. But I think if you're picked in that top 10 and he's on the borderline sort of, then they expect you to be like highly impact players. And for me, Peter being drafted at the 11th pick, he was the third offensive lineman drafted. Kid from UT, kid from Alabama, and then him. Or I believe it's Paris Johnson, and then Darnell Wright. Right, and then Peter. So when you're picked that high, and the expectations for this team, considering where their offensive line was last year, you're coming in with this expectation of you bolstering the offensive line. To me, he almost has to be, drafted that high. It has to be a mix of Brad Hopkins, Benji Olsen, just name any other, offensive linemen that the Titans, when they were the Tennessee Titans and they came here, had on their offensive line. If he's Bruce, that's great. If he's Bruce Matthews, because that's a Hall of Famer, yeah. But he has to be a bit of all of those guys rolled in one. Now, whether he plays tackle or guard, that's yet to be seen. Many project him as a guard that can swing the tackle. I was talking about this yesterday with a few friends, and it's going to be interesting to watch that whole dynamic between the left tackle, left guard, and the right tackle. Even though I think Nicholas is going to be pretty good this year. He's going to build on what he did last year. He tailed off toward the end, but that was his rookie year. But watch those three positions, because I think they may be interchangeable in this sense. If they don't feel Nicholas has, stepped his game up a little bit, then they take Dillard, put him in the right, Peter to left, and put Nicholas at one of the guards positions. So just watch that, because if you look at Peter, he can play guard and he can play tackle. It's just where the Titans are going to put him. Now, many say if you draft him that high, you need to put him at tackle. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily. You want to put him in the best position to succeed. And if guard is the best position to succeed, then so be it, as long as he's one of the best guards in the National Football League.
First of all, this is a great article.
It is a great, insightful article.
And the first thing I note, of course, is that he took an unofficial visit to Vanderbilt his junior year in high school, and Vanderbilt didn't offer him a scholarship. Come on, guys. What happened?
I did think of you when I read that little tidbit.
Coach Mason. Goodness. Now, this was when Vanderbilt actually was – I'm guessing if I do the timeline right, this is around the Kyle Shermer Vanderbilt teams that were not bad. They were bowl. They got to the bowl a couple of times. So I don't know what happened there. But
yeah, me either.
It just shows you, though, that sort of the evolution of a player, right? Your stock rises and falls year by year, and people grow and develop at different rates. The other thing I note about this guy, Skoronski, he's 21 years old, only 3 years of college. Mm-hmm. Day one starter, freshman year at Northwestern. So this is not a guy that beefed up over 5 years. Like there's some guys. We had a long discussion about the quarterbacks who are older, right? And there's a way to stay in college until you're 24, sometimes 25 by the time you're drafted, and so you are more fully developed. So I get excited seeing that this guy, especially as an offensive lineman, probably still has a lot of development to have physically, right? Let alone mentally, learning the game, things like that. So the expectation, obviously, is, when you got a guy that high, is you hope he starts for a long, long time. Mm-hmm. I would have thought of that about Chance Warmack when they drafted him. Or, and they got a certain amount of mileage out of Luan, right? This is what you just hope for when you draft a guy that high for your offensive line. You want him to ideally get right in there pretty quick and then stay there for a long, long time.
For the offensive line, and also just for the team, the health of the team, and I don't mean, physical health, I don't mean staying healthy, but your team is in so much better shape when you hit on draft picks, because then you aren't forced to go back and kind of undo what you did and then trade draft picks or pay the money to some veteran players to fill those positions of need. I'm not saying that, Rand Carthon has to undo what John Robinson has done. And John Robinson had 2 back-to-back pretty brutal drafts. John Robinson also had some pretty great drafts with the Tennessee Titans. But in 2020 and 2021, the drafts were not very good. And then I think that you've seen this team struggle because of it. You whiff on an offensive lineman in 2020. Well, now offensive line is one of the most critical positions of need for this football team. You've been trying to go get wide receivers, and now that's a position of need for this football team. You go out and you get a corner in the first round of the 2021 draft. Well, I don't know what the secondary is looking like for this team, but there's a whole lot of question marks with Elijah Molden and Christian Fulton. Can they stay healthy? Are you going to need to add a little bit more depth into your cornerback room or in the secondary as a whole? So I think that this team has so many question marks that wouldn't be as for the betterment of this team. Peter Skoronski is going to, you at least expect him to be a foundational piece of this franchise for years moving forward.
Well, he's going to have to be.
He has to be.
He has to be. There's no other choice because of the guys either you missed on or you chose not to re-sign. Jack Conklin, and we're getting further removed from that, but that started the domino effect of them trying to replace offensive linemen. When you draft a guy in Jack Conklin, I think the 8th pick or 10th pick, somewhere around there, and he's a cornerstone along with Taylor Lewan, so you got your 2 bookends, and you chose not to sign one of them back. This guy made All-Pro his first season. He got hurt, I know, but he came back that last season and played really good football. So you allow him to get out, and then Chance Womack doesn't work out. Isaiah Wilson doesn't work out. Radence isn't working out.
Didn't even mention Radence.
Exactly. Yeah. There's maybe 1 or 2 other guys that you've drafted that just hasn't either panned out, or for whatever reason you chose to go in another direction. And you've been paying for it ever since. You've been playing catch-up ever since. The 2 positions that are critical in today's football, minus the quarterback, is the offensive line and the receiver position. And when you had an opportunity to keep guys that were playing at a really good level, you either chose not to keep them or they just flat out couldn't play. And now you're playing catch-up with those 2 positions. How ironic.
You're in this position for a reason.
Exactly.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. There's been one thing, a negative, about Peter Skoronski. What Rand Carthon had to say about it, what Mike Vrabel had to say about it. We'll get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
All the big plays.
Ball right to score. Yoshi sets up Matt Duchene.
All the big stories.
For the Predators, are you holding on to what you got, or are you selling some guys off?
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Green flag is in the air.
It may not happen that way every game.
His shot stopped.
Play better, gotta coach better.
TD Tigers.
The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hi, this is Warren Moon, 9-time Pro Bowl quarterback and member of the Tennessee Titans Ring of Honor and Pro Football Hall of Fame. On the field, I always wore a helmet and pads to make sure I was protected. Life is no different. That's why I got vaccinated and boosted against COVID-19. Protection keeps you in the game. Talk to your doctor and get the information you need to make an informed choice. Gear up, Tennessee. Protect yourself and your family against COVID-19 today.
For more information, go to nflagearup.org/Tennessee.
Music City will be rocking June 23rd through the 25th with a different sound, the sound of NASCAR.
Start your engine!
The Ally 400 is back at Nashville Superspeedway, and this year, it's a night race. NASCAR in Nashville. It's guitars and fast cars under the lights. Visit NashvilleSuperspeedway.com to get your tickets for the triple header weekend, including the Ally 400, Tennessee Lottery 250, and the Rackley Roofing 200 today.
Spring. It's a season full of new life and new opportunities to celebrate. Hi, it's Alex Johnson from the Diamond Cellar. From weddings and anniversaries to new babies and graduations, plus everything in between, there's no better place to discover the perfect gift for every occasion than the Diamond Cellar. As a true jeweler, we not only curate the finest selection of luxury jewelry from world-class designers, but we can also create something truly one-of-a-kind just for you. Visit the Diamond Cellar in Green Hills or online at diamondcellar.com.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 3.5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Want to weigh in on the conversation?
It's a brain booster.
Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
I love Peter Skoronsky. He was on our All Juice team as well. When I talked to teams, some teams thought, hey, he does have a shot at tackle. Others said, you know, if he doesn't make tackle, he's going to play somewhere on the line and be a high-level starter. They love their flexibility. I thought that was a fantastic pick at 11. You know, we talked about Levis at 33 and the potential complication there and who made the pick and all that stuff. And then 81, they went from, to me, concrete, like building block pick to we're rolling the dice on the next couple of picks and we're rolling it on upside. And if they cash in on the upside, those are two players that people are going to love and whether it's ownership or the general manager or the head coach, whoever gets credit for those picks, if they pay off, it's going to be pretty immense.
That was Charles Robinson of Yahoo Sports on Peter Skoronsky. And again, there is a full breakdown of Peter Skoronsky's path, his draft process, how his relationship with the Tennessee Titans came to be on The Athletic. Dan Pompei did a great breakdown of Peter Skoronsky. And the biggest knock on him that I have heard throughout the draft process is the length of his arms. According to this article, he would be in the fourth percent of all NFL tackles. The fourth percentile of all NFL tackles with his short arms.
Now, first, I think we've all heard this, right? So,
yes.
How many times have you ever heard that brought up ever before?
Short arm length?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the small hands thing with quarterbacks.
We're paying. Okay, but I'm talking about
basketball.
Specifically arm length for offensive linemen. I don't remember there being it. Now, maybe I'm just not paying close attention. If I covered the draft every year from a different angle, maybe I would remember. But that's a really interesting thing to me.
Mm-hmm.
All I could think about was, you say that about somebody that's not willing to pay the bill.
Yeah,
like pick up the tab.
Yeah.
Hey, you got the alligator arms.
Got the alligator arms.
You got those alligator arms.
I've got T-Rex arms.
Yeah. Oh, somebody's not paying for the bill. I guess it's alligator arms. That's like the oldest one in the book, right? You've heard that a million times.
Totally.
So I had never heard that before for this. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting is he does get into that, right? Skoronsky is asked in the article about it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, and he breaks down the small arms. And just full disclosure, Peter Skoronsky, for the most part, has been a career left tackle. He played left tackle for the entirety of his career at Northwestern. He played left tackle in high school. And Rand Carthon was asked about it, about the arm length. And Rand Carthon said he's played at a high level against some high-round draft picks, NFL players with arm length. Although it doesn't check a box you typically would want, he knows how to play the game within the confines of what he has. So it sounds to me that, obviously Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel are fully aware of the arm length. They are fully aware of what he can do and what his physical limitations may be. But just according to the article and everything that Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel said, they were okay with it. That was something that they understood and were okay with and can work with. And we've called him a guard, basically, ever since they drafted him. And even throughout the draft process, so many people have said he's more of a guard. He's more of a guard. He'll be more successible at guard. We've been calling him a guard.
And usually coupling it with the arm thing, right?
Yes, that he is more of a guard because of the arm length. Yes, exactly. The arm length would lead him to being more of a guard at the NFL level. And that's something that Mike Vrabel gets into, too. He's like, hey, he'll play guard, great. If he needs to play tackle, great. Whatever he's going to do to help this football team, which is a very Mike Vrabel response. And it sounds silly, arm length, but it seems to be a clear limitation. And can he overcome it and still continue to play left tackle at a high level? That's the question.
Yeah, that's what we're going to find out.
Yeah.
But I think of other guys in other sports where you got to shake a label, right? There's, let's take a local kid here, Sonny Gray. Grew up, great high school quarterback, won 2 state championships, dominating pitcher, pitches at Vanderbilt. He's, I don't know, what, 5'9", 5'10", 5'11", something like that. Not your prototypical
height.
Not your prototypical pitcher, right? But he's still getting it done all these years later. He's off to a great start this year. So, UC Saros, Mookie Betts, Dustin Pedroia. There's always those guys that have to shake a label. And so this is this guy's label, right? We've talked about other odd traits that tend to be what you're looking for ideally, but these guys aren't, made from machine, right? They're not perfect. So what I was interested in, he said, like, everybody asked me about it. I think I can play tackle. We'll see if he can, right?
Well, he's played tackle in college and was able to be successful. I was just looking at, because this arm length was 32 and a half, so I was like, okay, 32 and a half. So I had to go back to my combine, and my arm length was 32 and 1/4. So his is like
stretch out your arms, D-Mase. Do you think that's long enough?
It's just like, but you got to understand, he's what, 6'4", somewhere around there, 6'5". So you got to be able to project. Yes, that's like saying, Steph Curry, 6'2", him, can he play at the NBA level at 6'2"? Well, he's always played at around that height, even in college, and he was able to be successful. What they were trying to project with him is, because the guys are taller, faster, play a little bit different in the pros, can it also translate to the NBA? Well, we see what it did. It translate, he's the greatest shooter ever. They're trying to project whether his arm length translate in the NFL. It's great in college because you're not going up against superior talent each and every week. So you can get away, and he's technically sound, so you can get away with some of those things. Does it project in the NFL when each and every week you're going against some real dudes, and they're coming, at 300 pounds and stronger than what you've seen in college? So are you able to project that in the NFL? I think that's why some people are saying, well, he might be better suited for guard than tackle. And we will see. I think he will get his shot. I've said when he got drafted, I said my belief is they're going to put him at guard, right on the same side of Andre Dillard. And, they're going to see how that works. And if it works the way they want it to work, they're going to keep him there. If Andre Dillard happens to show that he isn't the player they thought he was, they're able to then move Skoronski to the outside and possibly Dillard to the inside. So he's not planted, at the guard position. I think he has a little flexibility if they want him to. But I think they're going to start him off at guard because they, many project. If you want to get the most out of them, it's about getting the most out of a player. putting a player in a position. This is the coach's job. They've always said this, and it's going to continue to happen. I'm trying to put you in the best position to succeed. You may do well at tackle, and you may be fine, but you may be great at guard. Which one do you want? Do you want to be good at tackle and last 15 years, 10, 15 years, or do you want to be great at guard and be a Hall of Famer and last? Which one do you want? So I think that's what they're going to sort of figure out through this process. Is he a true guard, or is he a guard that can play tackle?
Yeah, I would love to pick the brain of an offensive lineman and just ask if let's just say he starts out at guard. Let's just say that Dillard is a good left tackle. At least that's the best way to align them this year. And Skoronski settles in as a really good guard. But then they move on at some point, and they want to move Skoronski out to tackle. How hard is that to do? How many players have done that? If you start, in other words, you start at guard, and you get entrenched, and you understand, and he's a good guard, is it risky to then try to move him out to tackle, even though he's a natural tackle? That's an interesting thing. It's like shortstop, second base, third base. There's some guys that can do it in baseball, guys that aren't as good at doing that, right? There's some guy, so we just have to read and see what it is. As long as he's got a spot, I think Vrabel seems to be okay with it.
You want to put your best 5 on the field, and it's good that he has the ability to be a guard. I've seen several times. Hell, I played, with Bruce Matthew, who played guard, tackles. Bruce did everything on the line of scrimmage that you could possibly do. So that can be done, but can it be done at a level where everyone's successful? So.
And that's the question, and that's something that Mike Vrabel kind of alludes to in this article. He said, I would not put a restriction on where I felt like he could play. When he starts working here, we will do drills that are conducive to overall offensive line fundamentals. Then we'll put him in team reps and training camp. We'll figure out where he can help the team. And I think it is. It's so easy for us to say, well, if he's not as good at tackle, just move him inside to guard. But he is a left tackle. He played left tackle in college. I don't doubt that he could play inside at guard. It's probably a little bit less of a workload inside at guard, but it is an interesting philosophy of once they get him in here, and once they're working in training camp, and once they get the pads on, what can he do to help this football team? 615-737-1025 is our phone number. On the topic of offensive linemen, some news about an offensive lineman that we know oh so very well. We'll get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Tennessee Titans select. The draft has come and gone for the Titans. Now the work continues for GM Ran Carthon and head coach Mike Vrabel.
We're going to continue to evaluate guys as they come through.
What's next?
We'll coach the details. We'll coach the technique.
Keep it locked on your home for Nashville's best Titans talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Real estate investors, listen up. D&M Development announces the pre-sale of Nashville's only non-owner occupied short-term rental resort community. The New Cumberland is perfectly located between Germantown and East Nashville, with amazing views of the city and the Cumberland River. The New Cumberland is a resort-style community featuring community pools, spacious kitchens, 4 bedrooms, and 4 baths. D&M Development is releasing 16 units in their Phase 1. Available now. Go to thenewcumberland.com for information. That's thenewcumberland.com.
This is R.A. Dickey, and I'm proud to tell you about my friends at Smoky Mountain Tops. When my wife Ann and I needed new countertops for our kitchen, we called Smoky Mountain Tops. We wanted to make sure that we worked with a company dedicated to quality, craftsmanship, and customer service. And that's what we got with Smoky Mountain Tops. Go with the pros at Smoky Mountain Tops for any of your surfacing countertop needs. Located in Knoxville and Nashville. Visit SmokyMountainTops.com.
This is Jim Mitchell at Mr. Transmission in Madison. Many of you care about a cure for cystic fibrosis. I care a lot and support the Saturday, May 6th golf tournament at Hendersonville's beautiful Country Hill Golf Course. It's the CureForOurFriends.org 9th annual golf tournament for cystic fibrosis. Tee off at 7:30 a.m. and 1 p.m. on May the 6th. Lots of prizes and sports stars, lunch and dinner provided for each tee time. Sign up at CureForOurFriends.org. That's CureForOurFriends.org.
Spring into action. Take the short drive to Social Furniture on the West Side. You'll be amazed with Social Furniture's huge selection of top quality, name brand furniture. Social Furniture has your dream furniture on sale now during our spring home makeover sale. Why shop at Social Furniture? Great furniture, great service, great prices. Full service, hassle-free delivery, and interest-free financing with no money down. Make Social Furniture a great place to furnish your home. If you want a deal, don't wait, shop now.
I shop at Social Furniture because of the money I saved and the way I'm treated.
Bert Kreischer presents Tops Off World Tour.
I look at my dad, I go, hey dad, maybe we should sit down. I don't think your owl's out tonight. 30 seconds later, whoo, right on top of it we hear, whoo. My oldest daughter goes, Dad, look across the lake at the old man on his dock. There's another drunk, blind old white man just,
Bert Kreischer live on stage, Friday, November 17th, Bridgestone Arena. Get tickets at Ticketmaster.com.
Cromwell Media, the proud owner of this radio station, is recognizing 3 of our talented teammates in May. At 1029 The Buzz, part-time host Roman Haviland notches 11 years, and Chris Atticus, the Buzz brand manager and midday host, celebrates 3 years. Nick Frazier, part-time producer on 1025, 1063 The Game, passes his first year with us. We thank each of them for helping us make a difference every day. And by the way, we're always looking for new talent. Ping us at together@cromwellmedia.com and let's talk.
We've got a big weekend of sports for you starting Saturday at 9 a.m. with Michelle and Junie.
It will be epic. It will be great.
I can agree to that.
Then at 2:30, it's a battle in the AL East as the Yankees take on the Rays. And then that night at 7, the Lakers and Warriors in Game 3. Sunday, the stars of the NASCAR Cup Series run the Advent Health 400 at Kansas at 1. And then Dodgers-Padres at 5 for Sunday Night Baseball.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is David Price. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Listen, we're a High Vibes podcast. I have to get a quick announcement out of the way. I'm in an unfortunate circumstance where I have had to file a lawsuit against the people and entities that are involved with my surgery from October of 2020. But I want to take this opportunity on this podcast to let all of you know what's kind of going on in my life. Fans that have followed my career, seeing those years before the ACL surgery and then obviously after the ACL surgery, kind of wondering, what the hell is happening with Lawan. But a lot of times there's areas for vulnerability, and I really wanted to make sure that I was able to share this with you guys, because for the last, since 2020, it sucked. It's been tough, but I would love to sit here and vent and tell you for the next hour and a half how tough of a situation this has been. But the reality is I just can't right now. When I can, I will definitely share more when I'm able to. But like I said, we all know how lawyers work. Hopefully it all gets just figured out and it's all done. And I can speak about it more because I like people to know what's going on with my career. I love it.
That was Taylor Lewan in the most recent episode of Bussin' with the Boys. And this was something that Taylor Lewan had alluded to a couple of weeks ago, that there was an ongoing lawsuit, an investigation that was going on about his knee surgery when he tore his ACL in 2020. But now we've gotten a little bit more information. This is from John Glennon in the Nashville Post, that Tennessee Titans tackle Taylor Lewan is seeking damages in excess of $50,000 against orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews, who is a big-time, high-profile orthopedic surgeon who has done a bunch of high-profile surgeries, specifically with athletes. This is interesting to me. I'm not a surgeon. I'm not a football player. I don't know the ins and outs of this. I just don't know what kind of case Taylor Lewan has and how easily he can prove that this was medical malpractice.
That was my first impression.
Yeah.
And I think when he first said that, the clip that we just played, I don't think we had seen the filing yet. So we didn't know who did the surgery, right? We were wondering who was it.
We were even wondering, was it St. Thomas doctors?
Yeah, and so Dr. James Andrews, that is a world-renowned orthopedic surgeon. Just think about him. He is synonymous with, that's where all of the pitchers go.
Yeah.
Like, you get a pitcher with an elbow problem. Do I need Tommy John? I got to have Tommy John. That's the first guy to see if you can get in to see, right?
And he's also been doing this forever.
Forever. So when I saw that, I was taken aback. And, of course, I'm not surprised because Taylor Lewan was in his prime a big time, one of the best at his position.
Pro Bowler.
So it makes sense that he would go seek one of the best in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So in reading the filing, I skimmed through it, and John does a good job. John Glennon does a good job of bringing out the highlights of it. But it doesn't really get into a lot of specifics of what the argument is here. So you're basically on the surface telling me that the best surgeon in the world, one of the best, just messed up, right? I guess there's stuff on videotape these days, right? So I'm just wondering what exactly he's arguing went wrong, because it seems to me to be a tough argument to say that one of the best in the world just screwed up. I guess anybody could have a bad day, right? Dr. Andrews, I'm sure, has done thousands of surgeries in his career, safe to say.
And
right?
I'm not a surgeon. I don't know how difficult it is to repair an ACL, but I feel like that's probably, you probably come across those every single day. I mean, whenever we see an athlete tear an ACL, yes, of course it's devastating, but we think of it like you get surgery, you come back, you'll be fine. That's kind of how I view the procedure of an ACL. You're doing brain surgery.
But yet I think we would all agree that and I tore my ACL when I was 40 playing pickup basketball. I was playing a great game, by the way, too.
I'm sure.
I mean, I was lighting the younger kid up. I was talking trash, and then boom, it went out.
That's just what you get.
It was
talking
karma.
trash.
It absolutely was karma. But I think there's an understanding, just like with Tommy John, right? You're not guaranteed to come back the same way that you were before the surgery, even though with all the medical advancements, they're better and better and better every year at getting you back to where you were before. But still, you've got to have some margin for error a little bit, like with your expectations, right? So but apparently, according to Taylor Lewan, so many things were wrong. He was never right again. And so and it led to a number of other things that went wrong.
Including another torn ACL.
Right. So the question is, how do you prove that?
Well,
so how do we know that it's the doctor's fault? That's going to be his argument.
Well, that's what
that's
what they're going to have to prove. Now, this isn't this is the first time that Dr. Andrews has had to deal with a sort of lawsuit coming from an NFL player, Sharif Floyd from Minnesota. I looked this up the other day, last night, and I lost it. No, here we go. Sharif Floyd, who was a first-round pick of the Minnesota Vikings. He went to have just a routine surgery on his knee from Dr. Andrews. And what he's saying, but this was back in 2013-16, yeah. But what he was saying is they gave me a nerve block, a pain blocker, and it damaged my nerves. So he was seeking in upwards of $180 million.
$180 million?
Yeah, in a lawsuit against Andrews in the institution, the orthopedic surgery institution. I don't know. What? I need to look more. I'm sure it probably was settled out of court or whatnot. But, yeah, so this is not the first time that it's happened. And this is another guy. He was a defensive tackle that was, having a promising career and never was able to play again because of, the damage to his knee. So this isn't the first time that it's happened. And I'm sure, after a while, this is what Taylor and his legal team, they looked up and they saw other instances where, Dr. Andrews, there's been a lawsuit toward Dr. Andrews and the orthopedic, the surgery and the institution. So how this all pans out, I don't know, but it's going to be here's going to be the problem, because you're going to have to prove that his surgery ultimately cost you from not playing again. Because remember, Taylor played, he played a full year.
2 more seasons.
Yeah, and then he had another injury. And I'm not saying that, the last surgery that Andrews did wasn't botched. I'm not saying that. But you're going to have to prove, well, it must not have been that bad that you continue to play. And then, mind you, even before the surgery, he got popped with PEDs. And I specifically said after those PEDs and he came back on the field, I said he's not the same player. He's not. Now, I don't know whether it's the PEDs or what, But Taylor Lewan wasn't the same player that he was before, getting popped and suspended for the PEDs. Now, that's just me. I don't know if anyone else thought that, and I'm not saying that, that is a correlation with his knee or anything else, but I'm just saying even before the knee injury, after him, being suspended for PEDs, he came back and he wasn't the same player. And then he gets hurt, which, it compounded it even more. Mm-hmm. So when he comes back from the injury, he looks nothing like the guy that we saw prior to the PEDs and prior to the surgery. So is your decline solely because of the knee injury, which I'm sure part of it was, or was it because you were no longer able to take PEDs? I'm not saying either way. These are the things that are going to have to be answered.
That's something that I'm sure Dr. James Andrews' defense, I'm sure that's something that's going to come up within his defense is, look, I think we all know that once you tear your ACL, you're probably more susceptible to tearing your ACL again. So what Taylor Lewan is accusing here is of Dr. James Andrews performing the ACL repair, which caused permanent injury to his right knee and surrounding structures, tendons, cartilage, and ligaments, calling it negligent acts that led to his NFL career being cut short. So is that what happened? Or was it, your play was declining, you tore your ACL, you're more susceptible to tearing it again, and it was something that was just almost bound to happen, whether the surgery was done perfectly or not. And I don't know.
Exactly. I don't know if it was done purposely or not.
I don't know what his knee looks like.
I mean, I think we would all say that nobody's perfect, right? It's possible that a doctor isn't perfect every time he does a surgery. Totally. I mean, as great as it's amazing what these guys do, right? Men and women, the surgeons these days, it's come a long way. I mean, you ever seen a picture of like Joe Namath's knees? It's just unbelievable, how far the profession has come. But we still has to have some human error in here. But I just wonder, how do you prove that? And I mean, I hope it doesn't get all messy. I hope they, I feel bad for Taylor Lewan, but I'm just wondering. I mean, we're talking about the best. The nerve block thing is interesting. That's a different thing. I did have the nerve block on my leg, but that's done by a different doctor. That's not done by James Andrews, it's his team, right? Dr. Andrews has his anesthesiologist. He's got there's another doctor named in the lawsuit. I don't know how you assemble your team and all of that stuff, but it is interesting. It does look like he settled. So I'm just trying to get as much information on the Floyd thing as I can.
Right.
Like, I don't know if it's apples to apples, but it is interesting.
And I have wondered, how common is this? Because I couldn't think of another time when a former player or an NFL player sued a surgeon or any doctor for medical malpractice. I couldn't name of any other example other than the one that you brought up.
There was a famous one with the Titans, right? With David Givens, who was a great.
He did it, and he won, didn't he?
I believe he won, and that was a free agent signing by the Titans after he left the Patriots. He had some great years with the Patriots, Super Bowl ring, had some. If you look at the NFL films highlights of the Super Bowl, I can't remember which one, but he had some good Super Bowls. Like
that might have been 2005.
Yeah, somewhere
around there. Yeah.
But it got pretty nasty.
All of this to say, I do remember back when the Titans decided to move on from Taylor Lewan. Some of the conversation was, "Do you think he'll come back on a different contract?" I think we can say definitively no. Probably not. He's probably done playing football. 615-737-1025. It's a Friday. Let's have some fun coming up next. Caroline Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
When it comes to Nashville sports,
locking up Jeffrey Simmons, clearly that was a priority for them.
He knows his stuff.
A little bit good, a little bit bad.
And knows how to push the right buttons.
He's coming off an ACL tear, and he's 25 years old, so you cannot ignore that.
Join Outkick's Chad Withrow every Friday at 5 with Stillman and Company. Withrow.
What I hate more than anything is people that are phony and not true to themselves.
Is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The choice is yours, Wednesdays at 8:45. Brought to you by Jarrett Companies. Now hiring experienced sprinkler experts. Go to jarrettfire.com. JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, a company above and beyond industry standards.
Gear up for spring at Coleman Tractor Company with Kubota zero turns and subcompact tractors in stock now and ready to work. Mow, dig, haul, and lift with the Kubota BX23S tractor loader backhoe. Now through June 30th, save up to $2,500 on BX23S models. Visit Coleman Tractor in Paris, Clarksville, Nashville, and White House today. Now through June 30th. See KubotaUSA.com for more information.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Hi, I'm Chase McCabe with your PBR Minute. The Professional Bull Riders Team Series champion Nashville Stampede will be back at Bridgestone Arena for the 2023 PBR Team Series homestand August 18th through the 20th, and tickets are on sale now. Head coach Justin McBride and his staff recently attended the Combine to see if they could find new members of their roster.
The Combine is a lot of the younger guys that are trying to make their way onto a team. There's probably a small handful that are going to come out of the Combine and find a place on a roster. We're pretty full right now. Our roster is. We got our eye on a couple of young guys, but we're returning a lot of guys and made some trades in the offseason to pick up a couple of new guys that we really like. So it is a process and getting your roster put together, and we're pretty excited about ours.
You can get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com, PBR.com, the arena box office, or by calling 1-800-732-1727.
They're insightful.
To me, you got a left guard situation you got to figure out.
Credible.
I trust this guy more than this guy.
But sometimes they just argue.
Why do you like the NFL playoffs? Those teams lose. I don't want college football to be the NFL. When they get...
Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexroad are Robbie and Rexroad. Weekdays from 6 to 9. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Having some fun in the midday.
Okay, that's really fun.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
It's a good source of energy because it's live.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app. It's a Friday. Let's have a little bit of fun, and let's do something new. A new segment on Caroline and Willy at D-Mase that we like to call Would You Rather. Now, we took a little page out of Robbie and Rexroad's playbook. Some Would You Rather questions, sports and non-sports questions. Our inaugural Would You Rather. Nick Keyser, take it away.
Yeah, well, I think this is a really good idea, but the most important question before we even get to the main ones is, would you rather go with sports or non-sports category?
I'm going to go with non-sports.
Let's do non-sports
Let's do
first.
non-sports. Let's
Okay.
do it.
All right. I like it. So the first non-sports question I have is, would you rather want to see yourself 5 years into the future or the past?
Ooh. That's a
Do
good
I?
one.
Are you saying see myself, or do I want to be myself? Like I want to transport.
See what you are in the future.
Oh, I would rather. I don't know, man. I guess I would rather see, because then I can sort of, if I'm seeing it, I can do some things. If I don't like it, what I'm seeing, I can kind of do some things before I get there to try to. You know, it's like the butterfly effect.
Machine.
Yeah, it's like the butterfly effect. Do one thing and it might change the course of your whole life.
There's been a lot of movies
scary
like
though.
that. Yeah,
but that's scary.
I think I would almost rather do the past Just because I don't know if I would trust myself, seeing myself 5 years in the future, and then coming back to present day and trying to act all cool. Like, I don't know what's going to happen in 5 years.
But then you'd be worried, like, if something bad happened. So every step you take, you'd be on eggshells. Like,
yeah, like, I don't want to ruin it.
Oh, my goodness, I don't want to do anything wrong. So I do the pass.
So if I go back, can I do the butterfly going forward?
Yeah, can I do the
I know
butterfly going forward?
Knowing what happened the past 5 years, can I change some things around if I go back 5 years?
Yeah, I would love to do that. Then I'm going back.
Or is it is this more about just who the person you were as to who the person you want to be?
More of who you were. So you go one way or the other.
Do you like who you were, or are you wanting to be something better 5 years from now?
Right. You're doing exactly what Robbie and Joe do.
It's
just dissect
it's not the Terminator. It's not the Terminator. You're going back in time, and then you got to try to change the history. Not necessarily. Or, there's a lot of movies like that. The Marvel movies do that. You go back in time.
Hot tub time machine.
Yes. I think I would go forward. I would go forward.
I'm going to go forward.
I'm going back. I don't trust myself.
Okay.
I'm going to screw something up.
All right. Well, I think I would go into the future personally. So our next question in non-sports is, would you rather communicate only in emoji or never be able to text ever again? So it's one way or the other, emoji or not being able to text.
This is easy for me. I would scrap the text if I had to, if given those choices. There's no way I would do the emojis.
I don't know half.
There's no way.
I would do emojis.
I know about 6 emojis.
You could still call
people. I go with
people.
about 6 emojis.
You could still call people, but when
imagine
you text,
that, actually having a conversation with somebody.
Right.
How are we ever going to get by if we have to do that?
2023. I don't have time for a phone call.
Man, I don't know.
Send me a text.
Like, that'd be a very short conversation if we're just doing it with emojis. It'd be a very short conversation.
One thing,
Yeah.
What do you think about tomorrow's show?
Yeah.
Let's start the
Thumbs
emojis. That's what mine be.
Football emoji, hockey puck emoji.
I would do the emoji. Just to be
fun.
I would do.
I think it would be really fun.
Man.
Yeah.
But if you use the juice box and you're talking about the Preds, it's like, did Juice make a big save, or are you just wanting juice?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different
hockey
things.
puck, thumbs up.
Yes.
Okay. All
there
right.
we go. See, we
accommodate.
Exactly.
I would have to adjust. I would have to adapt.
Okay. All right. So moving into sports now. If you played for a pro sports team, would you rather be loyal and play throughout your career there, or at some point, let's say it's a contract year or you want to trade or whatever it is, at some point you move on, but it's the rival of the team that you were just playing against all of those years after playing on your original team?
Well, hell, you just described my career then. If that's okay.
That happened.
I mean, it happened. I mean, I would have loved to stay in Nashville. But I guess with me, it depends on the team and where they're headed. If I foresee them being bad, then let me go to the other team. I want a shot at winning the Super Bowl. But if it's, a team that, that's getting better or is good, then, I would rather stay on one team. I would have rather stayed here in Nashville to play out my career because, I mean, it's a lot to pick your family up and move them to another city. And then while you're playing, they got to get all the other stuff ready. And it's just more stressful for them. It wasn't stressful at all for me. I went in and I had 52 friends right away. Bam, boom, there we go. But my family, it was like they had to make friends and find these places. So it's harder on them. So I would rather stay in one place.
Yeah, I would too. I will never forget the first game where the Ravens come to town. The Ravens are already the biggest rival for the Titans. They show up, and Derek, Samari Roll, and Steve McNair are playing for the Ravens. I mean, that was just surreal. And I think this was 2006, maybe. I think it was your first year.
It was my second year there because Steve came the first year. Steve came the second year.
Okay.
So Samari and I went the first year.
But I'm guessing, though, that was your first game against the Titans. Definitely.
No, that was the second game because we had played them that next following season. We ended up losing to them, but then the next season we ended up beating them with Steve. And guess who caught the winning touchdown? Yours truly.
Yes, you did. I remember it. Well, Vince Young had a good game. If I remember correctly, the Titans got way ahead. Mm-hmm. And everybody's like, the Titans, okay, they're going to beat the Ravens. And then here comes McNair. Here comes Mason. And then, I mean, that was a surreal day. I will not forget that one.
I think I'd rather play for one team. I've looked at so many, like Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, guys who are absolute legends with their original team in those cities. And that's something that I think is so special. And then when Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay, Aaron Rodgers went to New York, even when Peyton Manning went to Denver, I was like, no, what are you doing? Stay in one place. I think it is cool to be able to be so successful and so beloved in multiple places. That's got to be really, really cool. And to be able to live in different cities, experience different coaches and teammates. But I would have to stick with the loyalty.
Okay. And I thought, this last one it came way out of left field for me to think about, but I think it's intriguing. Would you rather pick a prime Mike Tyson or a prime Muhammad Ali in a fight not against each other?
Man.
Ali. I have to go with Muhammad Ali.
Mike was vicious. Mike was just an assassin. He was just like a guerrilla warfare.
You might not be there very long.
Yeah, you might not be there. Yeah,
you have a chance to have a new night somewhere else after the fight because some of these fights took about 2 minutes.
Mike was 30 seconds in the ring. By the time you better get there early, like super early.
If you're late, you'll miss it.
You're late, you might as well. You just wasted the ticket. You just wasted $1,600.
There was a famous one against Michael Spinks. You remember that one?
20-some seconds.
91 seconds.
Was it 91?
Well, let's look it up. I think it's 91.
That's
what
it was in the first
my
round.
No, it was absolutely the first round.
Yes.
Let's look it up because
before
I'm
people even had a
now.
chance to sit down. Well, Michael Spinks was scared before he came in the ring. No, truly, he was scared before he came in the ring. You saw it. Mike came in the ring. Michael Spinks wanted to run out the other side of the ring when Mike came in.
He was probably one tough son of a gun who wasn't scared of a whole lot.
No.
And that says a lot.
91 seconds.
91 seconds.
But June 27, 1988. I do remember
with
that.
All of that said, because I've seen Mike fight. I've seen him in his heyday. There's nothing like, Ali's the greatest, man.
And those
just
were like
if
epic. Just productions, like usually 15 rounds. Like there weren't a whole lot of knockouts in the third round with Ali.
Just think, had he not gotten stripped of his title and forced to not fight, which was horrible in itself, how great he would have been. Because he missed, a year, 2 years?
More than that.
More than that. Of complete fighting.
It's a great Ken Burns documentary that came out not too long about that. Very detailed.
There's never been a heavyweight like Ali. Hell, there's never been a heavyweight like Mike Tyson, but there's never been a heavyweight like Ali.
He is considered the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
How could I pass up on an opportunity to see the greatest of all time? I feel so lucky to live in an era and to be a sports fan in an era where we've seen Tiger Woods, Tom Brady, Serena
Williams,
Simone Biles, like some of that have been the greatest at LeBron at what they do in the history of the sport. You can have the LeBron MJ conversation, but still, that is one that I wish I could have experienced. A career that I could have seen unfold is Muhammad Ali.
Okay, this is one real quickly.
So Ali missed 3 years.
Three
of
years
his prime.
of not
I just
fighting
looked it up.
of his prime. That's
3 years,
a lot.
right when he was in the prime.
But then we can also say, well, Mike missed a year or two of his prime,
it went south
because he went to jail.
Yeah.
So it's just like, but here's one for y'all quickly. Would you rather go see Mike at his prime or Jordan or LeBron in his prime?
Well, I've already seen LeBron.
But I'm just saying, if you had to see one or the other, because you really didn't see Mike at his prime. Like
I wasn't alive.
Yeah, so Mike at his prime, Michael Jordan in his prime, and LeBron in his prime.
I have to go Michael Jordan.
Michael.
Yeah.
Man, LeBron
you're a product of your era, right?
Yeah.
That's my era, so I would have to go with Michael Jordan on that.
You love LeBron.
Have to do it.
I love Kobe. I'm a Kobe fan,
yeah.
regardless of the two. I think, people may scream through the radio but I think Kobe's the greatest. That's just me. That's only me.
Totally
I think
fair.
Kobe's the greatest. But Mike in his prime, man, gosh, I hated him because he always would beat the Pistons. Hated him. But I never hated LeBron in his prime. I never I don't know.
They both have revolutionized the sport.
Exactly.
I mean, Michael Jordan is just, transcendent, and he absolutely changed the sport. That is Would You Rather. The reporter will have Would You Rather questions for us every single week, but of course you can send them in as well. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Charles Robinson was on with Robbie and Rexford yesterday, and he had a bit of a theory that he came up with on night 2 of draft night from, some things that he saw on night 2 of draft night. We'll get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Do you have a VA loan? In this housing market, homeowners with VA loans have access to a ton of instant cash. Hey, Willy Donick here. Do you need cash to pay off credit cards and other high-interest loans? How does a check for 80 or 90 grand sound right now? Loan Pronto is helping veterans every day get the money they need with a quick and easy zero-cost cash-out refi with zero closing costs. With a VA loan, it's really cool because you can access up to 100% of your home's value. That's 100%. Use that money to pay off credit cards, home equity lines, car loan. Consolidate all your payments into one check per month and close in 2 weeks. Most homeowners who do this end up cutting their overall monthly payments by $800. And Loan Pronto's all-digital process makes it fast and easy. They're doing loans with super low APRs, and they love working with veterans. Call now. See what your options are. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Men, at the Tennessee Men's Clinic, our urologists and providers have been helping guys with erectile dysfunction and other sexual health issues for years. And unlike some, at the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we take a comprehensive approach to your sexual health. Our sole focus is to treat ED and related conditions. ED can be affected by a bunch of things, from hormones, prostate issues, medical conditions, and even simply aging. The fact is, most guys experience it at some point in life. If you're suffering with ED, it's extremely important to see a provider that understands how your medical conditions, hormone levels, and other factors can impact your ability to have sex. That's why you should come to the Tennessee Men's Clinic, where we have treatments that are effective in nearly 90% of cases. I can't tell you how many guys we've seen that thought their situation was hopeless, only to be wildly surprised. So give us a call today. We'll do some blood work with a T-check and a medical consult to give you the best shot at success. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. We have 2 offices, Midtown and Franklin.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra, results vary.
Tuning into the baseball game, monitoring the incoming storm, catching your favorite talk show. These are just a few of the reasons more than 80 million Americans depend on AM radio each month. And did you know AM radio is the backbone of the emergency alert system, keeping us safe in dangerous times? It's reliable, free, and public safety depends on it. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress we need AM radio in cars. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Now, your Game Center update.
This is Nick Keyser. The streak continues for the Florida Panthers in the NHL playoffs. Now winners of 5 in a row as they claim a 2-0 series lead over the Toronto Maple Leafs on the road. Here's the game winner on the Panthers Radio Network.
Poked away by Louis Arena. Panthers chance in the offense to make Chuck right side. Saucer pass Lundell back to Chuck right circle. In front, a chance. Forsling, and he scores, and the Panthers take the lead. 2 goals in the first minute and 6 seconds of the second period, and the Panthers are up 3-2.
And the Nashville Predators AHL affiliate Milwaukee Admirals face elimination tonight in Game 4 of the Central Division semifinal versus the Manitoba Moose. If they win tonight, the final game of the series is tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. And the Nashville Sounds head into tonight's matchup in St. Paul, Minnesota with a 2-1 series lead over the Saints. Down 8-6 in the 9th, the Sounds tied it up to force an extra inning of play, and Abraham Toro was the hero, scoring 2 runs in the 10th inning for Nashville to claim a 10-8 win. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 102.5 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 102.5 and 106.3.
1, 2, 3. I think it was a good game. You had a couple of big plays.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen,
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mace.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willy Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personality of all time.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3, The Game, and the Game Nashville app. We are live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studio, streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. Our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook Sports. Ask D-Mase in 30 minutes. Get those questions in for D-Mase. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Bring it on.
I got a quick one for y'all.
Okay.
Why are toilets good at poker?
Something about a flush.
No, because they always have flush. They always have a flush.
You should have quit while you were ahead.
I'm at Zany's, y'all.
Okay,
Come and see me.
Hold on. But D-Mase, you got to put your best joke later in the show. You let off the joke. You had a great joke to start the show. Now you're going downhill.
I got more. No, I got more.
Repeat the first joke. The first joke was a better joke. The first joke
was
submarines in the sky.
Don't you know there are more planes in the sea than submarines in the sky? It's plain to see, right? Plain to see that, right? Right.
Just when I think you've said the stupidest thing ever, you keep talking.
One texter texted in, phone lines from BibleScanHanna.com, says a termite walks into a bar and asks, "Where is your bartender?" I don't get it.
A termite walks into the bar and asks,
Where is your bartender?
I
don't get it.
Tinder, like wood? Termite eating wood?
He says,
like
get
timber,
it. Where is the bar space tender?
It must
be. Tender, like wood. Like,
Is
tender
that
wood.
a wood word?
Yeah, tender. I guess tender wood, easier to eat, I guess.
Where's your bar timber?
The most tender, tasty wood on the bar? Okay.
I don't know.
I get it. Okay.
I'm using that.
No. It was a good one.
I'm using that.
Yeah, that's what you'd be polite at a party. Yeah, that was a good one.
Crickets everywhere.
Keep them coming, people.
Dad jokes with D-Mase.
Oh, man.
Open mic night with Derek Mason.
Oh, man. Okay, let's go.
What can't he do?
Yeah, I just got something that
Comedian.
came. A light bulb that said, bing. But let's go.
We'll have to save it.
Yes,
we'll have to save that one for the next hour. So I think that I'm a big fan of a good conspiracy theory.
We found this out, but both of you guys.
Yes,
both of you guys.
we love them.
Life is too short to not buy into a conspiracy theory, and you can quote me on that. I love a good conspiracy theory. I love some good drama. Who doesn't? I mean, after all, the NFL truly is one of the world's greatest soap operas. It truly is one of the world's greatest, just, like those trash talk magazines. I feel like the NFL Network is sometimes synonymous with E because it is just so dramatic sometimes. And that is what I love about the NFL. But sometimes, even for me, things go just a little bit too far. Now, I want to get your thoughts on this. Am I poo-pooing this idea? Am I not, looking into it enough? Should it deserve a little bit more, a little bit more love, a little bit more airtime? But Charles Robinson was on with Robbie and Rex Road. He goes on with them every week, and I appreciate the insight that Charles Robinson brings every single week. But he brought up a story, or rather something that was pointed out to him by an NFL executive, and this was not Robbie. It was Charles Robinson on Robbie.
I guess he could be nicknamed Robbie, maybe, to really confuse
Robbie
everybody.
and Rex Road. This is Charles Robinson of Yahoo Sports.
I had a GM who it started to make the rounds, but the first guy that sent me the clip was a GM. He said, "Hey, did you see this?" And it was a clip of them making the pick, and it was Rand Carthon, obviously on the phone with Will Levis. It gets past the Amy Adams-Strunk, and then it goes from Amy Adams-Strunk to Mike Vrabel. And he just said, "Hey, did you see this?" And he's like, just what do you think of this clip? So I start watching it, and I thought, okay, well, the order of the phone call is interesting. You start picking apart like how what you see in terms of the order of who's talking to the prospect. It's still a second-round pick. It was interesting. It went from the GM to the owner and then the coach last. I thought it was interesting watching Mike Vrabel and just his demeanor, and then listening to what he was saying to Will Levis. And he's talking about, it was weird. It felt like he was coaching him in the moment about being gracious and having gratitude and being a good teammate and coming in and learning. And I was like, man, that is not stuff that you normally hear right off the bat when you have people who are overjoyed to make this, quarterback pick, and you're so lucky, and there's hugs, and then you kind of get this fist bump, and then Mike Vrabel turns away and we're off.
I love a good conspiracy theory. And I know when some people heard that, they probably thought, Mike Vrabel hates Will Levis. That doesn't mean anything to me. That feels just like that's what Mike Vrabel does. He'll talk on the phone with him, talk about, hey, we're excited to have you. These are the expectations. We haven't seen Mike Vrabel draft a quarterback. Of course, he drafted Malik Willis this past year, but this is on a different level than what they drafted Malik Willis with last year. So we don't have a history of Mike Vrabel's interactions with a newly drafted quarterback with the expectations that Will Levis has. But to me, that doesn't mean anything to me. It really doesn't.
I guess in listening to that, I'm trying to figure out where the incriminating part that he was the fourth person to talk to Levis, and then what was the second part? That
he was on the phone with him talking about gratitude, talking about, graciousness. Maybe it aligns with, there was a lot of stuff coming out about Will Levis not having great interviews, and he did have a great interview with the Titans, supposedly. Maybe it stemmed from that. I don't know, but Mike Vrabel talking to him about gratitude the night that they draft him, I can't look too far into that. Honestly, I think that's just Mike Vrabel.
And also not being able to hear what the other end of the phone, what are they saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know what to think about that. I do find it interesting because I listened to a really good podcast, the MMQB. I told you guys about this, where it seemed like the word that these guys were getting, Connor Orr is at the center of it, and he said there were a lot of people who interviewed Will Levis that thought he was maybe putting on a little bit of a show, a little more extra bravado, thinking that that's what the teams wanted to hear from him. And some of the teams early on kind of saw through it and said, well, he's kind of not being himself here. He's trying to be something that he's not. We don't like that. But by the time he visited the Titans, he had a very good meeting, and the Titans kind of took a different approach. They said, okay, we want to bring in your biggest mistakes. We want to look at your poor games. Bring them in. Let's talk about him. And they felt like he was much more honest, much more likable. This is just the story coming through there. So I don't know if that's connected at all with what that quote from Charles Robinson is or not. Yeah. But all of this is to say that, now he's a Titan, and now he's going to be coming in there every day, and he's got to start the new relationship. They selected him,
Yeah. Hey, this music. Who doesn't love a good conspiracy?
Who doesn't love a good conspiracy?
Love it. If you loved X-Files, you know this theme song. Conspiracies everywhere. You gotta love a good conspiracy, don't you?
The moon landing.
Exactly.
Aliens. Mike Vrabel.
Not Mike Vrabel, and the way he spoke to Will Levis on draft day. This goes right along. Where's Mulder? Where's Scully at? Where are they? I mean, in times like this, we need Mulder and Scully, to break this down. But you look at this, I think it sort of goes in line to, what Vrabel said at the end of the press conference. It was like the last thing he said at the end of the press conference, the night of the I think night of the first round or night of the second round. When before, like 20 minutes before, Ran Carthon, when Ran Carthon said, listen, this is a joyous time. Let's not tear these guys down. Let's build them up, because this is some of these guys. This is this is an important time in their life, getting drafted. Up until this point, this is like the most exciting thing for these young men. So let's not tear them down. Let's build them up. And then 20 minutes later, and it was so ironic how he did it. It was like he went out of his way, Vrabel, to say at the end, well, if this is the most important, the most exciting or most important time in their life, then they're not going to have a long career.
Which is a really fair point.
Yeah, which is a fair point, but it was like he
almost went out of his
way to say that because he heard what Rand Carthon said and he didn't want to right then and there. He didn't want to comment or say anything right after Rand said it, but he wanted to get it out. So he made sure he got it out before it all was said and done, before that interview was done. He said that. So, you look at it from a standpoint of, is there a lot to make of the phone call with Will Levis and how he sort of approached it with him? Not really, but hell, I love a good conspiracy theory. So I'm going to make a little bit out of nothing. I'm going to drum it up just a little bit because who doesn't like it?
Who doesn't?
I cannot imagine that would be the moment that a coach would start like lecturing a guy that they just picked. I would.
Yeah, but he started lecturing him basically.
Well, I don't know. I haven't seen the tape.
Yeah, from what was said by Charles Robinson. Yeah.
If somebody can produce that, maybe we can listen to it for ourselves. It sounds like it could have been more of a, hey, enjoy this. This is a big night for you. That's what I would say if I were the coach. It's not time to get into it.
Yeah, but that's what
they already picked him, so it's not like, hey, be grateful. Mm-hmm. It's already done. He doesn't have to be. It's a done deal.
If Mike Vrabel
the guy had been through the ringer, man. He just got back home after being the guy on TV that didn't get picked.
And everyone's making fun of his hot mom. Like, that's got to be a little bit humbling.
I don't think that's
it was
the
almost
kind of...
like Wilson last year.
Oh.
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson and mom.
And his mom became more to the center stage than he did.
Page 6.
And I just hope it doesn't happen to Will. But when you see a situation like that, but I'm sure Mike that's just him. And, the crazy part about it is I try not to, equate Mike Vrabel, his coaching style, with Bill Belichick. Just because he played for Bill, all of a sudden he has to be Bill. I'm not the one that prescribes to that. It's just he's been through enough coaching ranks where he takes bits and pieces from everybody and sort of with what he has and sort of build, his career based upon that, of the things he's seen, the things been told to him, the things that he know, and he wants to coach according to that. But that's something, honestly, I can see Bill Belichick doing, getting on the phone with a draftee and say, listen, be grateful, be humble. That's something I see Bill, he's won 6 championships, and that's been his demeanor since Lord knows when. It's just when Bill says it, it's like, that's just Bill. He's not.
And
but
who
Mike
was
says
Vrabel's
it,
coach in the league?
But Mike says it, and it's like, should I refer back to Bill? Because he probably seen a lot of how, Bill Belichick interacted with players, or is that just Mike being Mike? I think it's more so, even though I love a good conspiracy theory, I think it's Mike being Mike.
If Mike Vrabel thought that Will Levis was an ungrateful little twerp, I don't think they would have traded up to draft him.
But I think there is something in Mike that doesn't want, from what we've all seen and from what's been reported and everything else, there's a bit of him that comes in and wants to taper whatever arrogance that would be there. Like, I'm tapering it now because, what's been coming out prior to the draft is the arrogance and
the bravado.
Bravado. Yeah, I want to taper that right now so be grateful, be gracious, come in here and work hard. That's all I ask of you.
And I think that that's something that he would probably reiterate to every single other guy that they bring in the building. I don't think that's unique.
But I'm
especially the quarterback.
I'm going to say he just said it to Will Levis. That's it. He said it only to Will. I want a conspiracy theory.
Conspiracy king and comedian.
Absolutely.
Let's get into some of your thoughts on this coming up next. Ask D-Mase in 15 minutes. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
Every day we are live and local.
Blown out in one game against a team that's just flat out better than you.
And your source for Nashville sports.
How many needs are you going to create for yourself this offseason?
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The team at Mercedes-Benz of Music City have done it again. Here's Edwin Vickery to explain.
4-time recipient of Best of the Best. Less than 10% of the dealers in the country receive this award. How did you do it? We say culture, eat strategy for lunch, because we can strategize all we want, but unless you have the right culture and chemistry in the dealership, it will not work.
Live the dream at Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's time for the NBA playoffs, and you can get in on all the action right from the first tip with FanDuel. Right now, all customers can get a no-sweat same-game parlay every weekend when you bet the NBA playoffs. That's right. Just place a 3+ leg same-game parlay or same-game parlay plus on any NBA playoff game, and you'll get bonus bets back if you don't win. How about Jimmy Butler and the way he has played for the Heat? Goodness gracious. They've got great promotions every day at FanDuel and a safe and secure app. You get paid instantly, and you can find exactly what you like. There's no better place to bet all the playoff action than on America's #1 sportsbook. Visit FanDuel.com/JGM and get a no-sweat same-game parlay every weekend of the NBA playoffs. That's FanDuel.com/JGM. FanDuel Sportsbook, an official betting partner of the National Basketball Association. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
You don't have just an ordinary mom in your life. She's the best. Her work never stops. Her sacrifices are many. Her love is unfailing. This Mother's Day, Genesis Diamonds invites you to join us in celebrating and appreciating the mothers in our lives. Stop in and let one of our trusted advisors help you find a special, meaningful gift. Layering necklaces, stackable rings, eternity bands, pearls, elegant diamond pendants, and of course, stunning diamond earrings. Great Mother's Day ideas for any budget. There's no doubt we love Mom, but sometimes a little extra appreciation goes a long way as a thank you for helping us through challenges, making sacrifices, and always putting the family first. So whether it's her first Mother's Day or her 60th, Mom deserves a gift that's anything but ordinary. And at Genesis, that's our specialty. Exquisite rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, heirloom pieces. Timeless gifts of jewelry that she can enjoy and cherish for decades to come, and always be reminded of how special she is to the family. Genesis Diamonds, online at genesisdiamonds.net.
Hi, this is Jamie from Souls for Souls. I hope you can join us on June 7th at Hermitage Golf Course for the 2nd annual Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament. We've partnered with 102.5 The Game to provide shoes to students experiencing homelessness right here in Nashville. Go to thegamenashville.com for more information and to register.
Get in on the conversation at 615-737-1025. The Game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com.
Want to see our smiling faces? You can watch us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live.
We are good to go.
Presented by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Having some fun in the midday.
Yeah, it's awesome.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
One of the advantages you're bringing Levis in here, you get to sit down and work through the interceptions and everything. How did that process go for you guys as far as him being able to explain what happened and what he could have done differently?
Great. Had a lot of great exposure with Will. The Combine, the Pro Day, here. I think that with any player, when there's a mistake, one, it's how you allow them to make mistakes. Can they explain it? Hey, here's what I was trying to do. It was, 4th down. I'm trying to, feel like I've got to force the ball in there. And if they can't explain it, well, then that's what you have to come in as a coach and figure out, why those things happen. And we did that with a lot of different situations with every quarterback, is whether it was situationally, 3rd down, red zone, interceptions, times where we felt like that was a bad decision. We did that with all the quarterbacks that we met with.
That was Mike Vrabel on Will Levis. Charles Robinson says that an NFL general manager said, look at the phone call, listen to what Mike Vrabel was saying to Will Levis. I can't get on board with that, but conspiracy theory, D-Mase, he's eating it up.
Oh, I got it. I'm eating it up. I got another one for y'all.
Oh, boy.
Y'all want to hear this one?
Gird your loins.
Y'all want to hear this one,
This is not something to do with the Earth being flat, like hanging out with Kyrie or something like that. Okay.
No. Even though I do think the Earth is flat. No, I don't. I'm at Zany's, and 3 years from now, I'm at Zany's.
5 years. That was the would you rather.
He's building his portfolio.
Exactly. So, how does NASA organizes its parties?
How does NASA organize their parties?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
You want me to tell y'all?
Yeah.
They plan it. Oh yeah. I met Zanies in 5 years.
Okay.
That was a good one.
Now you've bounced back.
That was a good one.
You might want to end on that one. That was a good one. End on a high note.
No, I got another one. And I may end on. Yes,
yeah.
it's even better.
Keeping us on our toes.
Absolutely.
Want to get into some of your thoughts, but Willie, you had a thought first.
Well, okay, I want to ask you. This is a precursor to Ask D-Mase. I'm going to lead off with D-Mase here, but Caroline,
D-Mase
I
in
want to
6
hear
minutes.
this too because we want to hit different people, different viewpoints here. We got Taylor Swift coming in, right?
Talk about girding your loins. Jeez.
Yeah. Now, I have seen Michelle Knezovic, our co-worker. She really wants to go to this concert. She said, I will do a GoFundMe to get tickets to this thing. My daughter's college roommate, as soon I was on the phone with my daughter when the tour was announced several months ago, and her roommate just lost it. She was going, we got to get on this. We got to get on the Ticketmaster. We got to do. I mean, it was all over the place.
Losing their minds.
So we have a wide range. I respect the Swifties, right?
Yeah.
But the question is, if you are given 2 tickets to Taylor Swift, given them, you're not paying for them. Somebody just, for whatever reason, you have 2 tickets, didn't pay for them. Would you, I'm going to go to the concert. B, give the tickets to somebody who loves Taylor Swift. Or C, sell them for what you could get for them.
Listen, it's a capitalistic world.
I mean, we got Michelle saying, I will get the GoFundMe. I'll pay good. I know you could get good money for these tickets.
Listen, Willie, if I ain't going, somebody else is going, but they're going to give me a little coin. They're going to give me a little coin, man.
So you would not go? You're not a Taylor Swift fan?
I'm not a Taylor Swift fan. It's not like I dislike her or don't like her. I'm just not, it is what it is. But if somebody gave me tickets and I planned on going and all of a sudden I couldn't go, I'm selling those jokers.
Okay. I don't think there's any wrong answer here.
Yeah, I'm selling those jokers.
My wife asked me this question yesterday because we live in East Nashville, so there will be a lot of streets closed trying to get out of our neighborhood onto the highways and get out and about. So we're bracing ourselves for the invasion, just like whenever there's a big concert.
Right. Unless I'm giving them to like a family, close family member, or close friend.
Well, that's the option, right?
Friend.
Like you might have a relative that calls Uncle Derek or whoever, hey, Derek.
I would give it. I would just give it to them.
Yeah,
but somebody else.
D-Mase is asking his daughter to cough up a couple of G's.
Which means I will be paying for them myself.
But this is okay, Caroline. What would you do?
The money is tempting.
Yeah.
Because Taylor Swift tickets, I mean, in some cities, for some seats, they were going for $30,000, $40,000. I mean, that is
now that's a lot of money.
Insane.
I would have to.
It's a little bit.
I would make my daughter pay.
It's a little bit
like 30 or 40,000. Baby, you better come up with that money.
40,000.
Hey, 30, 40,000. Y'all better get together, GoFundMe, and give me my money.
That's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. Some of the prices that people are paying.
It's like when you catch the home run ball. Let's say you catch the 500th home run for somebody.
The Aaron Judge.
That ball is worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
There are some people that would say, "Look, I just want to give it to the guy." Right? It's not right to just I'm going to put it. But when you're talking about that amount of money, my goodness.
If it was that amount of money, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I would sell the tickets and get that in return. But I do love Taylor Swift.
Okay, so you might go.
I would go. It
Okay.
would have to be like a $30,000, $40,000, like almost an offer I couldn't refuse for me to give those tickets up. I love Taylor Swift. I've grown up listening to Taylor Swift. She is an icon. I would go.
What, have you ever seen her before?
I've never seen her live. No.
Okay. See, so for me, the curiosity, now where I live, right, I could get dropped off. It wouldn't be that inconvenient for me to just show up because I live not that far from the stadium. I could walk if I wanted to, but I could get a ride close enough to where the barriers are, then walk the rest of the way. So it would be convenient me to get in and out. So the intrigue of the whole thing, if I've never seen her, just to say that I saw it, I'd be kind of inclined to just go if I didn't have anything else going on. But I'm not that big of a fan to where I would go out of my way to want to see the concert. So that's the dilemma to me, A, B, and C. And then if I I think it would be tough for somebody that I knew and really loved, that I knew loved Taylor Swift, for me to have the tickets and not give it to them. That would be tough.
I mean, she is an international superstar.
Yeah.
To pass up on an opportunity, whether you love her or not, to pass up on that opportunity, it would be tough.
I would love to know what some people would think. How many people would just flat out cash in, forget about it? What are you talking about? Give me.
Economy,
I got a couple of grand
in this
coming
economy,
to me.
I think people would just pass on it. Like, listen, give me the money.
Yeah.
Give me the
go
dough.
to eBay, go to Ticketmaster.
Yeah, give me the dough. I could eat for about 2 or 3 weeks with that money.
Couple months rent.
A couple months rent for that money. give it here.
It is appealing.
But you could make somebody's year, right? If there are people that love her that much, that you could say, hey, what a great gift. And then what would you get back? Just, someday in life. It all comes back around. I don't know.
Like get Beyonce tickets in a few years, then it's a fair trade.
Yeah.
It's a very fair
little
trade.
Reciprocity.
Ask D-Mase coming up next, 615-737-1025. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 1025-1063 The Game.
The offseason is underway for the Predators. But don't worry. We'll keep you covered with all of the happenings in Smashville.
Wouldn't it be a great party if we could win a cup?
What does new GM Barry Trotz have in store?
We're going to make good decisions. We're going to develop our players.
We are your home for Smashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Happy Friday. And you know what it is? After I finish talking, it's Ask D-Mase. So before that, I need to tell men about Cool Springs MD. Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances. And Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and his wife, Daphne, along with that experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life. Cool Springs MD services have already helped many men of Brentwood, Nashville, and the surrounding areas in Tennessee with improving their immune systems, energy levels, cognitive functions, and more. They are there to connect you with the medical care you require to have a healthy and enriched life. There's no better time now to achieve a healthy lifestyle. Men, what are you waiting for? Get Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment. Here's the number, 615-486-3458. That's 615-486-3458. Or visit our website at coolspringsmd.com.
She would do anything for you. She's your biggest fan. She's your mom. And mom turned upside down spells wow. So give her a day full of wows this Mother's Day, starting with an incredible gift from the Diamond Cellar. Hi, it's Alex Johnson from the Diamond Cellar. From classic diamond jewelry to luxury pieces from our world-class designers, we have the perfect gifts for every mom, stepmom, or grandmother. Show her how much you care with something she really wants, but would never buy herself. Visit us at the Diamond Cellar in Green Hills. The possibilities are endless.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, Willy Donick here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. And a $50,000 loan would only cost you around $400 a month. Use that money to pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness and say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Spring into action. Take the short drive to Social Furniture on the West Side. You'll be amazed with Social Furniture's huge selection of top quality, name brand furniture. Social Furniture has your dream furniture on sale now during our spring home makeover sale. Why shop at Social Furniture? Great furniture, great service, great prices. Full service, hassle-free delivery, and interest-free financing with no money down. Make Social Furniture a great place to furnish your home. If you want a deal, don't wait, shop now.
I shop at Social Furniture because of the money I saved and the way I'm treated.
We've got a big weekend of sports for you starting Saturday at 9 a.m. with Michelle and Junie.
It will be epic. It will be great.
I can agree to that.
Then at 2:30, it's a battle in the AL East as the Yankees take on the Rays. And then that night at 7, the Lakers and Warriors in Game 3. Sunday, the stars of the NASCAR Cup Series run the Advent Health 400 at Kansas at 1. And then Dodgers-Padres at 5 for Sunday Night Baseball.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Vanderbilt head coach Jerry Stackhouse. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
D-Mase. He played 15 years in the NFL.
Quick throw. Touchdown, Derek Mason.
He had over 12,000 receiving yards.
Midfield, and there he goes. 80 yards for the touchdown.
And now you can ask him anything. Have a question about football or life? Now's your time to ask D-Mase.
We'll welcome you in.
Now on Caroline, Willy, and
D-Mase.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Ask D-Mase. Ask D-Mase is brought to you by Curation CBD. You can find their healing products at CurationCompany.com. Curation CBD products curated for life. Use promo code D-Mase, D-M-A-S-E, at CurationCompany.com for 25% off Curation CBD products. Ask D-Mase. Get those questions in for D-Mase. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Let's get into it. Some questions for D-Mase. Unless you have another doozy of a joke for us.
No. Nick was asking me, like, which one do you want to give? And I said one, and then I started singing one of their songs. And I know Nick was probably like, stop it, please. Stop it.
All right. I feel like this is going to be a good session for Ask D-Mase. 615-737-1025. We have done some fun non-sports stuff today, so hopefully they got people's wheels turning a little bit. So you can ask D-Mase a sports question or a non-sports question. The Lakers are still going. They just got waxed last night, 127 to 100.
Hush your mouth.
They got ripped.
They got
but they got their split. They're looking pretty good. They're looking pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a lot on the table here.
Let's do it.
Let's get into it. One texter texts in and says, GM D-Mase, you have the first overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. Who are you taking?
It's no secret who I'm taking. If you listen to the show, I'm taking Bryce Young with no hesitation. I think he's that type of player. Minus, we can sit here and, we can sit here and, knock him for his height and lack of being over 200 pounds. We can do all that stuff. But it's not like this kid just started playing football, yesterday. He's been playing at this height for the last 3 years at Alabama, in the SEC, which many consider, the best conference in all of football. I'm a Big Ten guy, so I'm going to leave that for you SEC guys.
Doesn't mean as much.
Yeah, so, yeah, you're right. But, I'm taking Bryce Young. There's nothing that I've seen that would make me think this guy's not going to be every bit of the pro and every bit of a franchise quarterback that you want him to be. So I'm taking him. Now, listen, with each one of them, it's a roll of the dice. Levis, Stroud, Richardson, Young, Caleb Williams next year, Drake May next year. All these kids, it's like, okay, I'm just hedging my bets on what I've seen, from them in college and the interviews and everything else. But what I've seen of Bryce Young, nothing tells me that he shouldn't have been the first pick in this year's NFL draft.
All right,
the first overall pick, the Derek Mason select, Stetson Bennett.
He would be second.
One guy's got the obligatory, D-Mase, we need you in the wide receiver room. Would you come out of retirement to play for the Titans? Okay, all right, we get that.
If you pay
TD did say that
enough,
with Robbie and Rex this morning. He said Chris Sanders and D-Mase might have to come out of retirement.
Pay me enough. I give you a few plays. That's about it.
Okay. All right, here's one from Jim. Do you watch the Kentucky Derby?
I have seen it.
Have you ever been there?
I've never been to the Kentucky Derby.
I've been once.
You have?
It's worth going one time.
Is it?
I don't know if I'd go back, but it is an experience. Let me tell you.
I need that invite from somebody that's in a cool place where I can kind of sit and watch
everything.
Oh,
yeah. That's where you want. You don't want to be in the infield.
Yeah,
it's total madness. It's a
huh?
massive humanity. But if you got the spot,
all right.
it's way different.
If somebody got that spot, hit me up. hit me up.
That is on my sports event bucket list.
Okay. I can see you chilling at the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, with your big hat on.
You get your hat going.
Give me a big old obnoxious hat.
Mint juleps.
Oh, absolutely. I'll kick my feet up, watch some horse races.
Are those
I would love
things,
it.
okay, I know we got to continue, but are those things good?
Mint juleps?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
They are good.
I've never had
They're
one.
good. They're
I've
good.
had kind of mixed.
And you're in the moment. You're kind of going with the Rome.
When in Rome. Yeah.
I've had mixed responses. Some people said they're pretty good. Some people it's like, nah, they're not really good, but it's sort of like the part of
what you do.
Yeah, what you do. So.
I think they're refreshing.
Okay.
Doug is on the line with a question for D-Mase. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. What's up, Doug?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, or good afternoon. D-Mase, I have a problem.
What's the problem?
Graduation time. It's graduation time.
Graduation
non-sport.
time.
And my theme has always been with my nieces and nephews, if you go to college, get this amount of money. Don't go to college, you get half. And you don't go to college, you get this amount. You go to college, you get the other part. And I will help you along the way. You just get out of high school and don't do anything? Sorry, Charlie, welcome to Grown Up. I don't give you a lot of money. Wife seems to think I should be across the board with the same amount of money. Because they're all going to talk. Help me, please.
Well,
Thank
you, Doug. Appreciate it. It is a dilemma.
Congratulations to your grads.
Now, I guess it depends because you got to know. And he said his kids, or did he say his?
He threw nieces and nephews in there.
Okay, you got to know like your nieces and nephews. You got to if you spend time with them. I know Doug has, so you know your nieces and nephews. You know which ones are responsible, which ones are more the entrepreneurial type. So you know each individual, and I think you should. I'm not going to just give the one that really don't, graduate high school but just want to work, just go straight to work and whatever job, just want to work. Well, okay, I would give you, say if it was 40,000, I would give you 20 and allow you to do what you're going to do. I don't want to give you the whole, if it's 40, I don't want to give you the whole 40. Give you 20, see what you're doing. The kid that wants to be so entrepreneurial, I'm giving that kid probably the whole 40 because what I've heard from them, their ideas, their thoughts, they may need all 40 of it to get their business going and started. And I probably wouldn't give it to them right away. I give them 20 now, let the business get going, then give them the 20 again a little bit later in installments. Then the kid that's going to college, a straight line kid, it's like, okay, I will give you yours in installments as well, but I will give you all of it because each year is going to be different. Your freshman year might cost a little bit more than your sophomore year. Your sophomore year might cost a little bit more than your junior, so it goes up. So I would stagger it based upon that. But then also the first one, if I see that they're, even though they're just working a job, but if I see that they are, doing things and bettering themselves, then I come back to them and say, okay, is there anything else you need? And if they say, yeah, it's like, okay, then I will give it to them. But, it's you got to know each one of your nieces and nephews.
It's tough.
Because some, you just don't want to give all the money because they ain't going to do nothing but go and blow it, And it's like, yeah, I know I gave it to you and your money to do something with it, but I just don't want to see you just go and blow it on nothing.
I also do wonder about the siblings, right? If you do something different for one sibling's kid and something different for another sibling's kid, will you have one of the siblings, hey, you gave so-and-so 20 and mine only 10 because he's going over here? Like, you got to feel for your...
You get what you get.
Yeah, like for instance, like my niece, she very, very smart. She graduated college like at 18, somewhere right around that shit. This girl is smart as a whip. And her mom and dad are both educators. My brother and his wife are both educators. So it was like I had money that I was giving to them anyway. I didn't mind just giving it here. When you want it here, it's yours. Why? Because I visually see what she's doing and the road that she's headed down. So I don't care. Just because I know you're going to be responsible with it. Other ones, it's like I got to sort of, be a little judicious in how I do that. So, because again, you just don't want to give it to them and they just go and blow it, and then they come back to you or they go to their parents like, I need more money. Well,
I gave you money.
It's like your uncle gave you a little bit. I gave you some and you blew it all. You just don't want that to happen.
You want to return on that investment.
Exactly.
Totally
Absolutely.
Understand. More
Doug, a thought-provoking question.
Thank you,
good stuff, Doug.
Good stuff. More of your questions for D-Mase coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Attention, buckaroos. It's time for the Franklin Rodeo. So saddle up and hold on to your lasso. It's 3 days of bull riding, calf roping, western wear, funny clowns, and some of the most talented horses you've ever seen. Join the Stampede from May 18th to May 20th. The Franklin Rodeo is held at the Williamson County Ag Expo Park and is brought to you by Ram Rodeo, Franklin Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Williamson Health, Event 1FX, and Wesley Mortgage. Tickets on sale now at franklinrodeo.com. It's a buckin' good time.
Hey, it's Jared from my friends at Hiller. Hiller's Heat Wave Heroes are keeping you from getting burned this summer. If you know your home needs an air conditioning replacement, do not wait until it breaks down. You do not want to be sweating in your home. This month, get a free UV light and free electronic air cleaner when you buy select new HVAC systems. Or get a whole home water filtration for just $59 a month. Or get a new whole home generator for just $139 a month. Call Hiller's Heat Wave Heroes to save the day. Visit happyhiller.com to book.
Houston Clinic Orthopedics wants to thank their patients for voting them the #1 orthopedic practice in the Nashville Scene Poll for 3 years in a row. Their physicians specialize in spine, joint replacement, knee, hip, upper extremity, and other orthopedic conditions. At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, they adhere to all CDC guidelines for the patient's and staff safety. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all physicians, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 3.5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Bert Kreischer presents Tops Off World Tour.
I look at my dad, I go, hey dad, maybe we should sit down. I don't think your owl's out tonight. 30 seconds later, whoo, right on top of it we hear, whoo. My oldest daughter goes, Dad, look across the lake at the old man on his dock. There's another drunk, blind old white man just,
Bert Kreischer live on stage, Friday, November 17th, Bridgestone Arena. Get tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Start your day with a cup of Joe. Ugh, he's gonna think that's stupid. Wait, what? Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexroad are Robbie and Rexroad. There, that sounds better.
Thank you so much.
Weekdays from 6 to 9, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
D-Mase.
He played 15 years in the NFL.
Quick throw. Touchdown, Derek Mason.
He had over 12,000 receiving yards.
Midfield, and there he goes. 80 yards for the touchdown.
And now you can ask him anything. Have Have a question about football or life? Now's your time to ask D-Mase.
We'll welcome you in.
Now on Caroline, Willy, and
D-Mase.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Ask D-Mase is brought to you by Curation CBD. You can find their healing products at CurationCompany.com. Curation CBD products curated for life. Use promo code D-Mase, D-M-A-S-E, at CurationCompany.com for 25% off Curation CBD products. Let's get to your questions for D-Mase. Nate is on the line with a question for D-Mase. What up, Nate?
What's up, y'all? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Same to you.
So, with the situation Taylor Lewan has put himself in, if you were in the middle of your surgical career and a polarizing figure like Taylor Lewan with a massive voice, and it seems I would think a lot of the NFL players look up to him, the younger ones, and see that they can have a voice. Would you be concerned about your future, or would you be questioning if you want to continue to help these professional athletes with their surgeries, with the I don't want to say threat, because that's not a term that I want to use, but for lack of a better term, with the threat of being sued in the future for something that you basically almost couldn't control.
Thanks for your call, Nate.
Thank you, Nate. I'm sure because you have to sign a bunch of papers before you have surgery. So I'm sure there's something within those documents that protects the surgeon to a certain extent. I've always been of the belief, listen, if you didn't do nothing wrong, you didn't do nothing wrong, and you fight it. I stand on that. Like, listen, I've always said, I don't care who it is, what it is. If you accuse me of something, I know I didn't do it wrong. I don't care how much money I have. I am not going to, sort of cower or say, well, because I don't want this to get in the media, let's settle out of court. That's admitting wrong when you settle out of court anyway, to me. I don't care about anything else. To me, if I didn't do anything wrong, if I felt I took the necessary procedures and steps to do a adequate to great job, then I am not bowing down to anyone. I don't care how loud your voice is. We just have to go to court. And if I lose money in the process, then I lose money. But I'm not going to allow someone with a big voice to make me sort of cower just because I'm afraid that I may potentially lose other clients. Again, if I didn't do anything wrong, if I went by the steps and the procedures, then no, I'm fighting it tooth and nail. We're going to go at it as long as possible. So I'm not. And I'm not going to worry about, again, another player's voice. I'm just not going to do that. Because ultimately, if I've done my job the way that I should have, I have all documents, I have everything that is going to put me in a position where, but we do go to court, that I'm going to win. That's plain and simple. Now, if I have sort of, half-assed the surgery and, whatnot, and the guy suffers for it, then, hey, listen, I have to pay.
Yeah.
I got to do what I got to do. I got to take responsibility for it and move on. But if I didn't do anything, if I felt I did everything, by the rules of the book, so to speak, and, whatnot, as a surgeon, and I was ethical in everything that I did, then no. My thing is, hey, be prepared to go to war, because that's what we're doing, because I didn't do anything wrong.
All right, here's one on another note. D-Mase, do you think Deion Sanders will win a conference championship at Colorado?
Oh, man. Gosh, that is tough, because this
now remember,
program,
USC and UCLA are leaving the conference, so maybe it's a little more winnable than it was, maybe.
Yeah.
Oregon,
Washington State still in there.
Colorado's taking over at the bottom, but they have had success before. But Deion has been
in the news for his pretty radical way of coming in there and just blowing everybody right out of there.
He's coming in like a bull in a china shop. He's coming in with a sledgehammer. And, you could take several different approaches if you come in as a new head coach. And, I've seen head coaches come in and sort of, stake their claim. And this is a new team and new regime and new ways. So this is how we're going to operate. And eventually, in how we operate, it will weed out those people that are not dedicated to it or doesn't want to buy into it. It'll weed those people out. So I don't have to sit here and say, well, you don't. If you were here before me, then you might as well hit the portal. I don't need to say all that because I'm going to work all of y'all hard and different from what the last coaching staff did. And if y'all are not going to buy into it or y'all don't like it, then y'all going to leave. I don't have to say a word. So I hope Deion is successful. I really do. But it's going to be difficult because you're coming into a program that has been down for so long.
And it's a different beast.
Yeah, it's different
coming from where he came from to the Pac-12.
I just wonder if it can happen as fast as he wants it to happen. It's almost like he came in there and he was like, I'm going to do what nobody's ever done before. I'm coming in like the Pied Piper. Everybody's following me, and we're going to have a loaded team right now. My son's going to be the quarterback. We've got some other players coming in. But that's not how it appears right now. But most coaches, especially for the rebuilding project that Colorado has, they won one game last year. It's going to be a building process, right? It takes time. You can't do it overnight.
Well, it's in his mind, it's we need a radical change. So what does that entail? It entails, radical thoughts. It entails me coming in with a radical mindset of, hey, listen, everything that y'all knew before I got here, all of that is gone. Every bit of it is gone. We got to start from the dirt and build this program up. We got to tear down whatever was here before me. It's this radical movement that some players, whether it was Deion or anybody else, some players just can't buy into that. Some players don't want to work harder than what they've been working. Some guys get used to just sort of coasting, and then when a new coach comes in, they almost get offended that they now got to work hard. Well, Deion is telling them, like, I don't care if you get offended or not. If you want to be in this program, you need to work hard.
And Deion's philosophy could be the best thing that has ever happened to this Colorado football program, at least in recent history. But also, there is another side of it, too. If there's kids, players now that don't want to be part of this organization and what he's building, maybe they don't ever want to be. And maybe the philosophy that Deion is bringing in won't be successful. But to your point, when you are as bad as Colorado has been, desperate times call for desperate measures.
Yeah, you have to come in with something that's just going to shake the foundation that was once there. You have to. But I'm not going to say his approach is the greatest or not. We will see.
The problem I had was that there were some guys that honestly worked really hard from the time he got there to the end of the spring and wanted to stay that he flat out cut. He just said, I want you out of here.
Yeah.
This is the double-edged sword of the NIL, the transfer rule, where players have the freedom now, but also the coach has the ability now to say, look, I'm gonna do this. It's a two-way street. You can leave, but your scholarship is annually renewable, so I'm going to use my right to cut you.
And that's the part that I don't agree with, if indeed it happened in sort of that fashion. Like, okay, you gave this kid a scholarship, or the last coaching regime gave this kid a scholarship.
What is your responsibility to honor that?
And it's like, okay, if he's doing what he's supposed to do in the classroom, he's BCA student in the classroom. He's doing his job in the classroom. But he may not be as good or what you're looking for at that particular time on a playing field. I always go back to honor that contract. Keep him in school. They ain't all. If you say it's about building up men, well, it's separate from football. If you're talking about building up men, build these men up in the classroom as well. Honor that scholarship that you gave him. He may not be a starter on your team. He may not be a backup on your team. There's a story, quickly, and I know my buddy won't mind me sharing this because he shared it openly. guy named Curtis from California. He came in. He got there a year or two before I got to Michigan State. And, you know, he played under Coach Perles. When Nick came in, he had a real bad back injury. Mm-hmm. And he told this story, so I feel I can tell it now. So when Saban came in, he was like, okay. They were like, well, do you want to – you can coach because obviously you can't play football. You can coach, you know, be a GA and stay with your scholarship or if you still want to be around the team. And he basically asked these questions. Well, if I don't want to coach, can I still have my scholarship? Coach Saban, yeah. Okay, if I just want to be a college student, go to class, can I still keep my scholarship? Yeah. All right, then. Well, I'm just going to be a college student because I don't want to coach. I can't play football, but I want to get a degree. All right, then. We signed you as a scholarship athlete. We're going to honor that. We're going to honor it. Whether you're hurt or not, we're going to honor it. I think that's what should happen. If you don't believe that player is good enough to be a starter or backup, then honor the scholarship. Allow him to finish out the year, 2 years of scholarship. If this person wants to play, then let him go transfer somewhere else. But if he's like, I want to be here, this is where I want to, this is my dream college, I got recruited, I signed it, then honor the scholarship. Let him just be a student because it's only going to be for a year or two. Let him just be a student. If indeed you're really sold on raising up men in this program, then let him just be a student.
Which I believe has been Deion's message and what he wants to do at Colorado and what he wanted to do at Jackson State as well. Just from a football standpoint, looking at the mass exodus that has left that program over the last few weeks, I don't think Deion Sanders is in any position to be, turning people away or to be sending players away.
It's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough. It's a learning curve, and it's going to be a whole lot of growing pains. But can Deion Sanders build up that program in the process?
I hope he can. I really do.
I wish him nothing but the best. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. This is a wild, wild story that could send shockwaves throughout college sports and maybe even sports as a whole. We'll get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
You don't have just an ordinary mom in your life. She's the best. Her work never stops. Her sacrifices are many. Her love is unfailing. This Mother's Day, Genesis Diamonds invites you to join us in celebrating and appreciating the mothers in our lives. Stop in and let one of our trusted advisors help you find a special, meaningful gift. Layering necklaces, stackable rings, eternity bands, pearls, elegant diamond pendants, and of course, stunning diamond earrings. Great Mother's Day ideas for any budget. There's no doubt we love Mom, but sometimes a little extra appreciation goes a long way as a thank you for helping us through challenges, making sacrifices, and always putting the family first. So whether it's her first Mother's Day or her 60th, Mom deserves a gift that's anything but ordinary. And at Genesis, that's our specialty. Exquisite rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, heirloom pieces. Timeless gifts of jewelry that she can enjoy and cherish for decades to come, and always be reminded of how special she is to the family. Genesis Diamonds, online at genesisdiamonds.net.
Do you love sports, and are you passionate about helping local businesses and your community grow? Hey, it's Chase McCabe, and let me tell you, the best attributes of working with us on our sales team at 102.5 The Game include the ability to build relationships with local businesses, craft effective advertising campaigns, and the potential for high earnings. If you have excellent communication skills, think creatively, and have the drive to succeed, just shoot us an email with your resume at together@cromwellmedia.com. That's together@cromwellmedia.com.
Now, your Game Center update.
This is Nick Keyser. The streak continues for the Florida Panthers in the NHL playoffs. Now winners of 5 in a row as they claim a 2-0 series lead over the Toronto Maple Leafs on the road. Here's the game winner on the Panthers Radio Network.
Poked away by Louis Arena. Panthers chance in the offense to make the Chuck right side. Saucer pass Lundell back to Chuck right circle. In front a chance Forsling, and he scores, and the Panthers take the lead. 2 goals in the first minute and 6 seconds of the second period, and the Panthers are up 3-2.
And the Nashville Predators AHL affiliate Milwaukee Admirals face elimination tonight in Game 4 of the Central Division semifinal versus the Manitoba Moose. If they win tonight, the final game of the series is tomorrow evening at 6 p.m., and the Nashville Sounds head into tonight's matchup in St. Paul, Minnesota with a 2-1 series lead over the Saints. Down 8-6 in the ninth, the Sounds tied it up to force an extra inning of play, and Abraham Toro was the hero, scoring 2 runs in the 10th inning for Nashville to claim a 10-8 win. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 1025 and 106.3.
A Betty performance.
Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willy Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personality of all time.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app. We're live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios, streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. Our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook Sports, and hey, tune in for Nashville Sounds Baseball tomorrow night at 6:35 p.m. on 94.9 The Fan. The Sounds take on the St. Paul Saints, the AAA affiliate of the Minnesota Twins. Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan, presented by 312 Pizza, Farm Bureau Health Plans, and Family Leisure. Man, not a good few months for Alabama public relations.
Imagine having that job.
Slightest. I mean, it just seems like every single day there's something new that makes the Alabama PR department think, what in the world
what
are we going to be doing about this now? And the most recent story has to do with the Alabama baseball betting scandal. So this came out about a week or so ago. Very, very vague. Very, very little information that was put out. Basically, the essence of this initial story that was reported was the Ohio, betting group, that oversees all of the betting in the state of Ohio, halted any and all bets placed on Alabama baseball after there was some suspicious betting activity on this series, in their series with LSU this past weekend. So I'm thinking, okay, well, that's weird that it's just Alabama, that it's in the state of Ohio, and also what exactly is suspicious betting activity? Was it just a large sum of money? Was it several small transactions that were all made from the same account within a short period of time? Like, what exactly was it? And so we got a little bit more information, and then yesterday the news comes out that Alabama has chosen to fire their baseball coach, Brad Bohannon. So I thought, okay, there is some serious juice here. It came pretty quickly after the news was released. Just a couple days later, Brad Bohannon was fired, and now we've gotten a good bit of juice, a good bit of tea about the situation. Reportedly, Brad Bohannon was texting with a friend in Ohio, telling him to place a ton of money on LSU on their Friday night game, the first game of their series last week, which is probably the biggest no-no of all no-nos.
Yeah.
A coach
the
telling,
one thing you can't
advising, betting
obviously,
on their own
Coach
team.
Bohannon has never heard of Pete Rose.
Yes, never.
I mean, the poster child for baseball betting and the baseball betting of no-nos. So this has just been wild. And the biggest no-no of them all, Brad Bohannon committed that. And the strange thing to me as well, almost about an hour before first pitch, Alabama's Friday night starter was pulled, reportedly, for some back tightness, back soreness.
Mm-hmm.
Brad Bohannon put in a pitcher that hadn't started in over a month. An hour before first pitch said, hey, you're starting.
Right. And this Friday, for people that don't follow, that's usually when you're going to throw your best pitcher.
That's your best pitcher. Yeah. And So that to me was kind of a red flag. At the time, I didn't think anything of it. You know, your pitcher's experiencing back tightness. You know, you pull him, you put someone else in. But looking at more of the details and then now knowing what was going on behind the scenes, that Brad Bohannon advised his friend to put a ton of money on LSU to win that game, it's all very fishy. And now Brad Bohannon has cost his job.
He's not getting another job anywhere else. I can't see him, possibly not even at a high school, no time soon anyway. What was he thinking? For one, I mean, these things like that is so easily tracked. You know, you make it's not necessarily
that was really the argument for legalizing all of this, is that, hey, we will track suspicious stuff like this.
And they caught it quickly.
You take your best pitcher, and that's not even like the story. You take your best pitcher, and now he's not pitching. And that's not the story, other than, okay, man, you wish he could pitch. Okay, you remove him because of back tightness or soreness. But then automatically you think, well, he's going to put in his next best pitcher to pitch that night. Or the third best pitcher. Not a guy that hasn't pitched in over a month. That's where it starts to get fishy. And I'm sure even the guys in the dugout were probably thinking, like, why is this guy pitching? Like, what's going on here? But they probably was like, okay, go about their business. But you had to have thought as a player. That's like, you know, if I'm playing football and, you know, Steve can't go, and instead of putting Neil O'Donnell in, they put in some guy that hadn't played in a year, and they just signed him yesterday when Neil is perfectly healthy. It's like, why are you putting this other guy in? Why aren't you putting in our next best guy? So automatically that would raise red flags to everybody, wouldn't it?
Well, that was a big thing with the Pete Rose, right? All of the different layers of what constitutes. There are some people that just philosophically say, well, what's the problem if I'm betting on my team? Mm-hmm. Right? But this was one where he was telling his buddy to bet against my team. So that's basically fixing the game. If that's what happened, this is what allegedly happened. Now, obviously, he's fired, and I haven't heard anything from him. Like you just made the argument last hour. If you know you didn't do anything wrong, you're going to fight this thing.
Absolutely.
I haven't heard about any fighting. So it looks like he's just caught red-handed.
They have text messages. They have videos. Yeah. I don't think it was a casino, whatever, sportsbook, wherever this bet was placed. They have video. They have the documentation of him pulling out his phone, texting him. They zoomed in. They saw it was communication with Brad Bohannon. Goodness. It's incriminating evidence. He's guilty of doing this.
And I'm sure he's sitting there going, hey, we still tried to win the game, but the question is, how far would he go? Like, he knows his buddy is placing this bet. Like, LSU, the lead started slipping away. The final score of the game was 8-6. Right? So the pitcher didn't come in and pitch very well. But you never know what's going to happen in a baseball game.
Right.
So can you imagine if Alabama had come back and won?
And that's what I'm thinking. Because betting on LSU baseball to win is not a very crazy bet. LSU's the number one team in the country. Friday night, they play Paul Skeens, who is the best pitcher in the country, maybe the top or second pick in the MLB draft.
So they would be an overwhelming favorite in this game.
It's not weird to place some money on LSU baseball to beat Alabama. It's not a bad team, but an unranked team. But the way that the game kind of fell out, Alabama was coming back. It was getting a little uncomfortable for LSU. So I think Brad Bohannon's probably thinking, man, I got money on the line. Like, I can't win this game.
Well, that's the question. Is he just trying to help a friend out, or is he saying, okay, look, you bet all this money, you take a cut, I take a cut? I mean, that's when you really get into sinister stuff, and you start asking questions about, okay, we now live in the world we live in, right? Our radio station is no different than anything else. We take the money from the betting services. It's legal. So, hey, everybody has the right to do this now. But it does put a lot of interesting scenarios in front of a lot of people in the know. Like, for example, I think I was reading, a typical game like that in the SEC, certain books, especially out of state, out of SEC country, how many people are placing bets on a game like that? Not very many, right? So all of a sudden you see something like this. Somebody, why are you betting on LSU, Alabama, and this is the amount? That's where the red flag goes up. But it makes you wonder how many other people in other sports who have insider information like that could very easily just pass it off to the next guy or the next person, a friend. You
But
just wonder. I mean, that's got to be happening, right?
But here is sort of like the slippery slope in all of this. Like if you're just casually, like if you're a coach and you got a bunch of friends and you know, whether it be you, Willie, or you, Caroline, when y'all get on the phone with your friends and stuff, you start talking about, oh yeah, you know what? Well, this player, and we're not coaches, and it's like, well, this player's they're saying he's hurt, so I don't know if he's gonna play or whatnot, and we're just talking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How many times does that probably happen? Because you're just talking to one of your good friends, and you're not expecting them to make a bet or anything else.
Exactly.
You're just talking to them and letting them, man, it might be a tough one because our head guy, our leader.
Yep,
he's feeling a little under weather. Yeah, man.
Tonight.
So it's gonna. But you're thinking about it from your perspective, like, man, it's gonna be a tough game for us. But you're talking to your friend, and then are you then responsible for what that friend does?
That's a really interesting one, and that has happened.
I'm
right?
sure it has.
So I don't like you and I are friends, but I don't know that you are actually when you're having this conversation. We're just buddies talking.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea that you're actually taking what I'm telling you, and you're turning around and betting based on my perspective that I'm giving you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not intentionally
giving you.
You're not saying, "Hey, Will, I'd like to make a bet on this game. What do you think? Are we going to win tonight?" You know, that's not it at all.
Mm-hmm.
We're just having a conversation, but secretly, you take that in. I have no idea, but there's a lot of different ways, and you start worrying about what about the players. Like the good thing is for Alabama here, there is no indication that any of the players were in on this at all. And of course, they turn around, to their credit, they turn around and beat a very good Vanderbilt team last night and won easily. So they did not allow the weight of this thing to affect their performance last night.
And I couldn't tell if it was we're going to win this game for Coach or if it was screw you.
Yeah, get this guy out of here.
We're going to go out there and we're going to go whoop a really good Vanderbilt team and middle finger to you, Brad. I don't know what it was, but I think that this is going to have repercussions. I think that this could potentially send shockwaves throughout Vegas, throughout college sports, the way that, this is investigated. And we'll get into that coming up next. And the repercussions, what comes next after this. We'll get into that coming up next. And, of course, your thoughts on it as well. 615-737-1025. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 1025, 1063 The Game.
All the big plays. All the big stories.
If you're not ready to play in this league, you will lose. I don't care who you're playing.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Because I love the sport.
We played the way we needed to.
Why would he make that move?
360 and he slams it home.
The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Willie Donick here for Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. The official brand perception report is in, and the Pella Windows and Doors brand is #1 for the most trusted, most often recommended by others, and highest quality. Nashville area homeowners are very lucky because Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville is one of the top locations in the country. They provide award-winning excellence when it comes to craftsmanship and installation. If you need new doors or windows, I suggest you choose the experts at Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Go to PellaofNashville.com. What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, Willie Donick here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. And a $50,000 loan would only cost you around $400 a month. Use that money to pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness and say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Hi, I'm Jamie with Souls for Souls, a global nonprofit based in Nashville that provides shoes and clothing to people across the world. We're joining forces with 1025 The Game for the second annual Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament on June 7th at the Hermitage Golf Course. A portion of the proceeds from the tournament will provide new shoes to children experiencing homelessness right here in Nashville. I hope you'll join us for an afternoon of fellowship and fun, all in support of a great cause. Go to thegamenashville.com for more information and to register.
Spring into action. Take the short drive to Social Furniture on the West Side. You'll be amazed with Social Furniture's huge selection of top quality, name brand furniture. Social Furniture has your dream furniture on sale now during our spring home makeover sale. Why shop at Social Furniture? Great furniture, great service, great prices. Full service, hassle-free delivery, and interest-free financing with no money down. Make Social Furniture a great place to furnish your home. If you want a deal, don't wait, shop now.
I shop at Social Furniture because of the money I saved and the way I'm treated.
Anyone want to tell me what happened? Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to thegamenashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Having some fun in the midday.
Okay, that's really fun.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
It's a good source of energy because it's live.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What was your pregame message to the team?
Well, I just kind of told them business as usual, man. You guys have done a great job all year of taking care of business. You go out, you play your game, and that's what we're going to do tonight, right? Nothing changes. Everything that we want to accomplish is right here in front of us. You guys have been playing your tails off, and we're going to get out and play our tails off again tonight. And that was the basic message, and we didn't really say a whole lot.
That was Alabama interim baseball coach Jason Jackson post-game last night. Alabama, after their coach just got fired, just a few hours later, they had to take on a really solid Vanderbilt baseball team, and they played lights out and whooped Vanderbilt last night. So you have to give this baseball team credit. When you're facing a whole lot of adversity and a whole lot of controversy, go out and play a game like that. Good for them and good for the interim coach. But the Alabama baseball betting controversy is so interesting to me because we have facts at hand, but what we don't know is intention. We do know that Brad Bohannon was texting with a friend or whoever it was in Ohio, told him put some money on LSU, which is a huge no-no. We do know that Brad Bohannon, an hour before first pitch, told a pitcher who had not started in a month and a half, hey, you're starting tonight, our normal Friday night guy, he's got back soreness, back tightness, whatever it was, back issue. What I don't know is, did Brad Bohannon intentionally make that move to make sure that Alabama would not have as many competitive advantages as possible, or as few competitive advantages as possible, that you shake up the pitching rotation, you give your starter only an hour to warm up, only an hour heads up before the game? Did he do that intentionally to ensure that they would lose? Or was that really what happened? That the pitcher just couldn't go and they had to do what they could with the resources at hand?
It really brings up a million questions, right? It's just
really
one
does.
after another after another.
And he got fired, so it's all water under the bridge. But throwing a game is the worst of the worst.
Sure. And this is not a bad team. Like a lot of times I would think that if you're in a desperate situation, your team's going nowhere, that's where maybe something like this would be more likely to happen. But Alabama is a team that is tracking to get to the NCAA tournament. And we know middle-of-the-road SEC teams in the NCAA tournament can do damage. Yeah. They can get to Omaha, right? Just get hot at the right time. There's been plenty of them over the years. So they're still playing for something, right? So what? This guy put his job on the line and lost his job over this? When you got a chance to do it, it's not like this guy was on the verge of getting fired for how the team was doing this year. So it's just crazy. Like,
it's also very well respected.
These are the other things, like, are there debts out there that he felt a lot of? I mean, there's any, like I said, it just leads to a million questions that we don't know the answers to.
Do y'all think because of how it happened under those circumstances, do y'all think this was his first time?
No.
Probably not.
Yeah, and that's what probably the university is thinking too. Like, this isn't your first time. We don't think this was your first time. So they were swift and unapologetic and got rid of him.
And even if it is the first time, I still think you have to fire the guy.
You have to.
Because, and Greg Sankey said this in his statement from the SEC office. He said, And it was just like Kennesaw Mountain Landis back in, the Black Sox when the teams through the World Series, they got involved with gamblers. It's a famous story. If you ever want to watch a good movie, 8 Men Out is a good movie about this. But you cannot have the fans come to a game and wonder, is this game on the level? That ruins everything for everybody, right? And that was the thing that I think every commissioner, every state, everybody involved in sports, when we got into this new era that we're in now about legalizing gambling, can we make sure we police this correctly to where we never have any question about the integrity of each game? Is every game on the level? Because you got a major problem if there's a suspicion, right, from anybody.
And I think that was their biggest fear. Any league out there, professional, NCAA, whenever sports betting was becoming legal, and it's so normalized now, we're only a few years away from it becoming legal. Now you see sports book commercials and billboards everywhere. I mean, it's so ingrained in the sports watching experience at any level. So I think that was really the biggest fear, is what we're experiencing now. And of course, a regular season conference college baseball game is a whole lot different than a Super Bowl or a World Series. But still, the fact remains that there was a game that potentially was compromised due to betting incentives. And I think that was probably, fear 1A, is that the games, the sport, the integrity is going to be compromised because we're now introducing financial incentives.
Well, it's the fear of potentially this happen versus the financial gain. And these leagues, whether it's the NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, college football, college basketball, anything, they look at the financial gains more of an upside than the fraud risk or the risk of somebody tampering with the game. I'm sure they in their minds, they're thinking it will happen. We know it will happen. We just have to be on alert when it does. We may not catch it every time, but in situations like this, when it's obvious, we have to do something about it. But I think they got to a point where they said, listen, the financial gains we will get overshadows any, nefarious thing that may be going on in regards to betting, because they know they can't stop it all, but they want to stop when it's obvious, like an LSU and Alabama baseball game, college game. Who goes and put that much money on a college game just out of nowhere?
Well,
in Ohio,
baseball.
That's why. Thankfully, right, this was a test of the regulation system, right, and thankfully Ohio, did something. They could, unless somebody just bet that much money. Oh, well, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
And they could have left it at that, and we never would have known. But they said, no. We got to look into this. And then here we go.
And this
guy's fired.
This is from AL.com, and from an insider in the betting and casino world. They break down, what we call a large sum of money that's bet on a game. That's totally different. It varies. $100,000 bet on the Super Bowl. That's not. It's big. It's huge, but that's not that out of the ordinary. $100,000 bet on a college baseball game, like red flags. And I don't know how much it was, but they did describe it as a large sum of money bet on a college baseball game. And this says that could be potentially a $5,000 bet. For college baseball, that would be considered a large sum of money. $5,000 for an NFL game, you probably see that, every single week. So that's kind of what caught the red flag. But let's say it was $5,000, if that's kind of the threshold for a large bet. The odds for LSU to beat Alabama on Friday night, minus 350, 300, like very much so.
And what would they have been if the ace pitcher for Alabama was pitching as opposed to the replacement?
I would say even still pretty heavily in LSU's favor.
But they probably changed a lot. It probably would change if the odds makers knew that.
Yes.
They would change the odds.
Totally.
For sure.
Yes. And even more in LSU's favor. So I'm looking at it like, let's say it was $5,000. For argument's sake, let's say it was LSU minus 300. Well, your return really isn't that great. For a baseball coach that's making $500,000 a year, is that bet really worth your job and your reputation?
That's what I wonder if it was for him or if it was just a favor for a friend that was in need or something. I don't know.
Either way,
for a friend.
either way,
you put your job on the line.
It's going to cost you your job either
Exactly.
way. If it was for you and you needed the money, or if it was for a friend because they were in a situation where they needed some money. Ultimately, it all falls back on you as the head coach. You're going to lose your job, and then subsequently, you may not ever be able to get another job in the coaching world again.
Just crazy. You had Brandon Miller a few months ago. Somebody within Alabama's athletic department just got a DUI. One of their top recruits just got arrested for dealing drugs a couple weeks ago. They've got the HBO documentary coming out about sorority recruitment at Alabama. Tough few months for the University of Alabama.
Nick Saban was probably like, man, I want to get as far away from these jokers as I can, you know?
Nick Saban holding down the fort.
Exactly. Please don't let nothing come out about Nick, please.
Oh, Nick is clean as a whistle. I'm sure he is. Let's get into your phones on this coming up next. 615-737-1025. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 1025-1063 The Game.
The NFL offseason is in full swing, but you'll never miss any of the big news. Thanks to Yahoo's Charles Robinson.
They know that there's a chance that they're going to have to deal this guy.
He's one of the best insiders there is.
All of a sudden, he becomes a functional player who we thought was just trash.
Join Charles Robinson every Thursday morning at 8 on Robbie and Rex Road, presented by the NFL Alumni Association on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here, and season tickets for the Preds 2023-24 season are on sale now. Preds will be celebrating their 25th anniversary throughout next season. Full half and quarter season plans are available, and you can join the Loyal Legion today and receive the best seat locations at the best pricing and up to 50% off discounts on concessions throughout the season and more. Plus priority access to the 2023 NHL Draft and awards, which are hosted right here in Nashville coming up this summer. Check it out at NashvillePredators.com/season tickets.
Along with being Middle Tennessee's Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer, Parman Tractor is your one-stop shop for professionals in the tree care and tree removal business. More bark brush chippers and Rayco stump grinders are industry-leading machines made for more to keep pace with you. And Parman's parts and service team will keep your machines running. Durability, efficiency, and trust. That's what you'll get with more bark and Rayco. And with Parman. Swing by Parman or visit ParmanTractor.com to learn more about more bark and Rayco. Parman Tractor's employee-owned team promises totally outrageous customer service.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing in me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is everything.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
We've got a big weekend of sports for you starting Saturday at 9 a.m. with Michelle and Junie.
It will be epic. It will be great.
I can agree to that.
Then at 2:30, it's a battle in the AL East as the Yankees take on the Rays. And then that night at 7, the Lakers and Warriors in Game 3. Sunday, the stars of the NASCAR Cup Series run the Advent Health 400 at Kansas at 1. and then Dodgers-Padres at 5 for Sunday Night Baseball.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Nashville, this is Dan Lebitard. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Join 102.5 The Game for the second annual Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament presented by Gary Force Acura, benefiting Souls for Souls on June 7th at Hermitage Golf Course. You can put your team together and come play with athletes, musicians, and other local celebrities to support a great cause and have a ton of fun. Plus, you'll have the chance to win awesome prizes, so sign up to play, sponsor, or donate at theGameNashville.com/golf. Let's get some of your phones on this. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Steve is on the line. What's up, Steve?
Hey, guys. Just a quick comment about this LSU-Alabama game where this coach is dumb, funny, I don't know what he was thinking, does this. What would a hypothetical situation, so this guy does this, okay? And, for example, the pitcher that he put for a month just has a lights-out game and just starts striking people out. And the other team, LSU, just has a bad hitting night, and they actually wind up winning. Alabama wins the game despite all the things. Are they going to blow the whistle on these guys then, or do you think not?
Thanks for your call, Steve. They were pretty darn close.
Well,
it was a lot closer than I think anybody would have anticipated.
I'm trying to remember the specifics of the movie, but I do think there was an element of this. Remember, in 1919,
I can't
the World Series. I'm thinking of the movie 8 Men Out, which is a little more recent than the actual when it happened.
Let me go back.
The famous Black Sox scandal.
Okay.
But back then, the World Series was best of 9. So there could be a lot of twists and turns in a series, but the series was fixed, right? The players for the White Sox, long story short, they were taking money from bettors. And I think at first they were thinking, we'll just throw a couple games. We'll still win the series, but we'll get a little extra money because our owner is cheap. They're not paying us what we deserve. We're a great team. So I think they were trying to have their cake and eat it too. But that supposedly in the movie, that's something happened where they won a game that they weren't supposed to win.
Oops.
And the gamblers went nuts and said, okay, now, guys, no more horsing around. You are losing the next game. But that is what happened. There was a guy that wasn't in on the take on the White Sox. The other 8 guys are saying, we got to lose this game. The pitcher, who wasn't in on it, pitched a great game, and they won. The gambler's like, what the? Now we're really in trouble.
If you're going to have everybody in, if you're going to have anybody in on the take, it has to be the pitcher.
And hey, if you're going to
and that's what happened in the movie.
If you're going to commit yourself to something, go all in.
Exactly. You
Even
got to get
if
the
it's
pitcher
losing,
too.
just go all in on losing. But to the caller's question, if Alabama would have won that game, would it have still been as big of a deal as it is now? I say yes. Win or lose, he still committed the cardinal sin of being a coach or with any involvement in sports, and that is betting on the games, or at least being involved in betting on the games. So I don't think that the ends would justify the means, especially with how sensitive sports leagues, the NCAA, and sports bettors are about potentially fixing games.
It's just the integrity of sports. You want to keep it, high where fans are not in the back of their minds thinking, well, is this game fixed? And if that starts to happen, then you're going to see people not watching or going to games. But I understand the texter's question, but it's like, okay, a bank robber. I go in and I try and I want to rob a bank. I'm not successful in robbing a bank. That doesn't mean I'm still not going to jail. If it's just I didn't get the money. But my intentions were to rob the bank. I went in there with a gun or a note. Give me your money. If they didn't give it to me, they hit the buzzer, the police came. They're still taking you to jail.
You still committed a crime.
Exactly. You still committed a crime. The intentions were to rob the bank. You just were not successful.
You're not a
You
very
didn't
good
think it
robber.
out. Exactly. You didn't think it out. In this situation, he didn't think it out. It's just, it's one of those deals where, listen, you knew the minute you gave that person the information, the minute you text back and forth when he was in that building getting ready to make the bet. It's fair game now. Mm-hmm. What you did was illegal. And whether he wins the money or loses the money, you still gave him the information, which means you broke the cardinal rule. You broke the rules that are within, college sports. No betting whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Now you got to go.
I do wonder, because I think we're all in agreement that we don't think that this was his first offense. Mm-hmm. Because I don't think that, what makes you start? Brad Bohannon has been in college baseball for a long time, and he's been at Alabama alone for 6 years. I don't think that you all of a sudden just start betting on games. But it makes me think, does this happen a lot more than we would think? I mean, this seems like
that's my worry. It's always been my worry. My question was, when all of the states, including Tennessee, we had quite a debate on it when it was sort of in the offering, mm-hmm. and it eventually got ratified, Yeah. And most states now have followed suit one by one. There's a lot less states where it's illegal now than it's legal, right? It's sort of a domino effect. My question to people who always enjoyed a wager here and there, do you think more people will start wagering as a result of just the legality of it, or will just gamblers always be gamblers? And I think it's fair to say, right, more people are gambling because it's legal, right? That's legal. I'll do it.
It's easy.
So that does that not maybe increase the chances of this kind of thing happening? That's always been my question. I don't know. And it's what the pushback I get is like, no, the regulators are going to make sure, because it's their livelihood. They're going to raise the flags, and it's successfully worked here. But I do wonder, under the radar, is this going on back channels and people are making money and games are being compromised, and we would never know?
I always say, if you're going to be dumb, at least be smart about it. So if there are players or coaches around sports in general, college baseball, college football, NFL, NHL, whatever it might be, if they're doing something dumb and their livelihoods depend on this game, playing this game, coaching this game, I have to think they're probably being smart about it. But how smart can you be to kind of buck the system when when their jobs are dedicated to cracking down on things like this? Part of me wants to be naive and say, no, that would never happen. That coaches and players love the game, want to maintain the integrity of the game, that the casino and the betting people whose job is to oversee all of this would be able to crack down on it. Part of me says, absolutely not. That would never happen. But then part of me has to think that same thing. If it's so easy for all of us to do it, there's got to be somebody who's not supposed to be doing it that's doing it.
Well, you just hope that, and this is the whole, financial gain based on, financial gain compared to, fraud that could potentially happen, or betting outside of illegal betting that could potentially happen. You can't catch everything that goes on, but you just hope that these coaches, players, assistant coaches have enough integrity and think enough about their job that they're not going to purposely go out there and do anything that's going to compromise the integrity of not just the sport, but their team. Because now, you do something like this, now you wonder, well, how many other people knew about this? How many other people were involved in this? Mm-hmm. Now you start looking at the players, and the players, like you said, the players probably don't know a thing about what he's doing, but it does fall, whether we love it or not. There are going to be people that say, well, did the players know about this? Well, did they have a hand at this when more than likely, they didn't know about this? So now, not only is the question of your integrity being, questioned or compromised, it's the universities, it's college sports, period. So I just don't understand why coaches, if indeed you love coaching and you want to do this, why would you even engage in something like that? Why would you even think about engaging in something like that? Because I can make more money coaching than I will trying to make a bet on a particular game that I'm coaching in. Because whatever bet you make, you're not going to, unless, like you said, unless you put a large sum of money on it, you're not going to make much.
Right. And that was what was different about, was sort of the motivation of the White Sox players was they weren't getting paid like players get paid today. Right?
Exactly.
They were getting paid peanuts, and like our guys, Comiskey, he's a miser. He's not paying us. Let's stick it to him. Let's just lose a couple games. We'll still win the World Series.
That. I'm more so, even though that's not right, I still understand
they were kicked
that.
out, and they were kicked out forever
because they wasn't being paid pennies. But these coaches nowadays are being paid six figures when you're at a big university. So why do you think then you still need to go down that road?
Well, it just makes you wonder: is there gambling debts? Like there's people that have made a lot of money but rack up some pretty high debts.
Uncut gems.
Yeah.
That's like the whole story of it is this guy who's been so successful, but he just had a gambling problem and he was racking up 6-7-figure debts.
Yeah. And then what lengths would you go to get out of it? Like it makes you wonder, are there players out there that they didn't get in gambling debts betting on their sport. It's maybe blackjack or something like that. But the people are coming to them, look, we need you to make amends on this. So we're going to now get you to do this in your sport. That's what you worry about. A guy's vulnerable.
Right.
So what lengths would you go to?
You hope not this.
Yeah.
And I hope that this is, a very, isolated situation, that there's not going to be shockwaves or all of these massive changes or anything like that or any more stories coming out about this. But it does make you think. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 1025-1063 The Game.
Want to jump into the mind of a 15-year NFL vet? Well, here's your chance. D-Mase. It's Ask D-Mase.
Come on, bring them on.
Ask questions on football and life to Derek Mason every Friday at 12:30 on Ask D-Mase.
Don't mess with her. The skilled guy. Money reigns supreme.
On Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase. On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Imagine her delight when she unwraps a luxurious spa day from A Moment's Peace, the newly remodeled day spa and salon in Cool Springs. Time is running short, but whether you spend a little or go lavish, you can take comfort that your gift will be treasured, your love on display, and a smile on her face. Give affordable luxury from A Moment's Peace for mums, dads, and grads in Cool Springs across I-65 from Galleria Mall at the intersection of Carruthers Parkway and Bakersbridge Avenue. Call 224-0770 or click online anytime at amomentspeace.com.
You don't have just an ordinary mom in your life. She's the best. Her work never stops. Her sacrifices are many. Her love is unfailing. This Mother's Day, Genesis Diamonds invites you to join us in celebrating and appreciating the mothers in our lives. Stop in and let one of our trusted advisors help you find a special, meaningful gift. Layering necklaces, stackable rings, eternity bands, pearls, elegant diamond pendants, and of course, stunning diamond earrings. Great Mother's Day ideas for any budget. There's no doubt we love Mom, but sometimes a little extra appreciation goes a long way as a thank you for helping us through challenges, making sacrifices, and always putting the family first. So whether it's her first Mother's Day or her 60th, Mom deserves a gift that's anything but ordinary. And at Genesis, that's our specialty. Exquisite rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, heirloom pieces. Timeless gifts of jewelry that she can enjoy and cherish for decades to come, and always be reminded of how special she is to the family. Genesis Diamonds, online at genesisdiamonds.net.
This is Jim Mitchell at Mr. Transmission in Madison. Many of you care about a cure for cystic fibrosis. I care a lot and support the Saturday, May 6th golf tournament at Hendersonville's beautiful Country Hill Golf Course. It's the CureForOurFriends.org 9th annual golf tournament for cystic fibrosis. Tee off at 7:30 a.m. and 1 p.m. on May the 6th. Lots of prizes and sports stars, lunch and dinner provided for each tee time. Sign up at CureForOurFriends.org. That's CureForOurFriends.org.
Attention all fire and safety line experts. Middle Tennessee's fastest growing fire protection company is looking for experienced service technicians, designers, and sprinkler system experts like you. Tired of working for a large corporate employer? Work for a company where you're more than just a number. Jarrett Fire Protection is owned and operated by Nashville natives and wants to invite you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire experienced sprinkler experts and will offer a sign-on bonus of up to $5,000 for certified professionals. In addition to our great benefits that include a 401k match, PTO, and top pay with annual bonuses, we will also provide you with the top-of-the-line tools, trucks, and equipment that you need to grow your career. Our customer base is large and business is booming with many opportunities for advancement. Give us a call or go online to jarrettfire.com and apply today to become a member of our family and protect our community. That's JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, where we are above and beyond industry standards.
The sports talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic and Junie Riddle for Michelle and Junie.
As long as he wants to coach there, he will be able to coach there.
I think that really did save the hope of this team.
Michelle and Junie, presented by Superbook Sports, every Saturday morning at 9 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Having some fun in the midday.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. D-Mase is feeling himself today. Friday D-Mase.
Okay.
Is a D-Mase of a different breed.
Oh, yeah.
Now, D-Mase, you started the show with a good dad joke. You had a little downturn. You recovered nicely.
Minor setback, major
Minor
comeback.
setback.
You
Okay,
came
there we
back
go.
strong. Okay, are you willing to put it on the line?
I'm willing to
and
put it
end
on
a
the
high note?
line. I'm willing to put it on the
He's
line.
doubling down.
I'm doubling down, okay? Y'all may get this one, but hell, I got to say it anyway. All right? Y'all ready?
We're ready.
Let's get
Listeners, y'all ready? All right. Nick said no, I'm not ready. Okay. What's the difference between black-eyed peas and chickpeas? Dun, 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 dun.
Black-eyed peas and chickpeas.
Yes.
What?
I'm not a super fan of either one. Although the
I do
group,
love a chickpea.
I do love the Black-Eyed Peas, the
Okay.
music. I did like, Will.I.am and those guys. I like that.
Okay.
I do love a chickpea.
Are you done with chickpea? Me too. Okay.
All right, so what's the difference?
The difference is one can sing you a tune, black-eyed peas, and one can hummus a tune. Oh, yeah.
So I was on the right track.
Yeah. Oh,
Talking
yeah.
about Fergie
Hey,
and Will.I.am, I was on the right track.
5 years, I'll be at Zany's. Check me out. Check
It's
me
4
out.
years now. You got yourself even
4
closer
years.
with that one.
And quickly, on a serious note, what kind of doctor was Dr. Pepper?
That's a good question.
I don't know. I guess he was a physician. A physician.
A fizz.
A physician. A physician. Yeah, I get it. Physician. Oh, yes, I am at Zany's, baby. Yes.
Did you float
Friday
these?
Dad Jokes is on now.
Did you float these in the locker room back in the day?
Everyone was like,
We're going to have to ask Sanders.
we need to get rid of D-Mase.
Hey, man.
He's a problem in the locker room.
Bad dad jokes.
I guarantee you, Willy's going to take one of those jokes. He's going to say it. He's going to use it.
I'm writing it down.
He's going to pick up the phone and call Mahoney after the show and say, hey,
Doctor was Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper. I'm afraid that you may have set a really dangerous trend here on the show.
Yes. I love
Steve is on the line. What's up, Steve?
Hey, guys. Hey, I just called in there a few minutes ago and posed y'all that question about what if Alabama had won. But I've got something totally off subject, but it's a little joke. You guys were telling some jokes earlier. I was on my way to Clarksville about an hour ago, but I've got a sports betting joke about a horse race. Take about 20 seconds if you want to hear it.
Okay, with the Derby coming up tomorrow, I feel like it's good timing.
Fitting.
Yeah, man, sure. That's what I mean. Okay, so this guy, he's going to go to the horse races. And for 3 nights in a row, he dreams the number 5 just keeps coming up in his dreams. So, okay, the day of the race is, they plan on going to the race. He goes to the racetrack, gets him a program, immediately turns the program to race number 5, looks down at the number 5 horse, and the horse's name is 5 by 5. And he says, that's it. And he bets the whole load, bets everything he's got on number 5. And sure enough, the horse ran 5th. That's all I got, guys.
Thank you, Steve.
The horse wins 5th.
He ran 5th?
He ran 5th.
What did you think was going to happen?
What did you expect?
Is that Carl Lewis? It pains me. Physically, emotionally, mentally, just hurts.
Man.
Oh,
You will get more of this. Don't worry about it. I'm telling you.
Nothing is over. You know where he'll be in 5 years?
Huh?
Your opening act at
Absolutely.
Yep.
5 years, he and I will be at Zany's.
Rob is on the line. Maybe with a joke. Who knows? What's up, Rob?
Hey, guys. How y'all doing? Thank you for taking my call. Happy Friday to you. I wanted to touch base about the gambling issue we were talking about. You know, And D-Mase, you can probably speak to this a little bit more. A few weeks ago, we found out that, some of the Detroit Lions had been involved with some pretty shady gambling stuff. And one was a first-round pick, and another one was Quentin Cephas, who's a veteran who I love. And I watched Hard Knocks with the Lions and fell in love with them. So it really broke my heart to think that could be possible in the NFL. And it kind of got swept under the rug and went away. But I think, in a way, that was like a really big deal and never got really talked about. I just wanted to know what y'all thought about that.
Yeah, thanks for your call, Rob. I think the real heartbreak is falling in love with the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, even though they're doing well. Here's the deal. And the NFLPA has put out a memo telling agents, like, listen, these betting sites are basically snitching on your players. So, just be careful about, because
things to protect themselves.
Yeah, exactly, because I don't think that Lions players bet on a football game, but per the rules within the NFL PA, you cannot.
NFL game.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, NFL game. You cannot bet within the building, and I think that's what was happening. They weren't necessarily betting on football; they were just betting within the building, and you can't do that. And I'm sure that's one of those things. Those guys were like, "We didn't know that," and you sort of. You understand that they didn't, because who's going to go through that huge book that they get, at the beginning of the year? I mean, they're not going to go through it. But even though teams do talk about, gambling, and they do make an emphasis at the beginning of the year when we all meet, these are things you're not supposed to do. Did they say, well, you're not supposed to, I don't care if it's gambling on another sport, you can't do it with inside the building? I don't know if that was said to specific players or to all players. If that was, then you have no excuse. But if that wasn't, then I can see players saying, well, I'm not betting on football. I'm not betting on the NFL. I'm just making a regular bet, which they can do. But they can't do it within the confines of on any grounds that the NFL is a part of, whether it be at the stadium, at the facility, on a plane. I think with the team planes
probably would count.
Exactly, it would count as well. So these they're telling these agents now, your players, be careful, because these betting sites are telling. They are alerting the NFL that y'all are making bets, so be careful.
And I think that, as silly as you might think that is, the specifications of where you can and can't bet, it's the rules.
It's the rules, yeah.
But the difference being, the players, including Calvin Ridley, all of the players who have gotten suspended for betting on games did not bet on games that they played in. That's the difference with Brad Bohannon, the Alabama baseball coach, and these players, is they just broke the rules and where they were betting, what they were betting on. He was coaching in a game that he gave betting advice for.
Right. And then you get into this slippery slope of, okay, did Calvin Ridley bet on games where he knew players and, had insider information, sharing information? There's any number of things that could have happened, or it could have just been he was not making a smart choice.
And he served his sentence for it. That's going to do it for us today. Have a great weekend, everyone. Enjoy the Derby tomorrow. Stillman & Company is up next. We'll be back Monday at 11 a.m.
Be loved and love on somebody. Peace, Swifties.